Hello and welcome back to the Rose Break podcast. We've got our first sponsor today. It's very, very exciting stuff. This episode is sponsored by the Majorca BJJ and Yoga Festival. Basically imagine paradise and then you get to train BJJ and do yoga with world-class instructors, because that's basically what we're talking about here. It's a 5-night, essentially a camp, a 5-night jiu-jitsu camp and yoga camp in Majorca in October. So the weather's going to be incredible. It's in a 5-star hotel, absolutely ridiculous hotel with some really great instructors. On the jiu-jitsu side, we got Clark Gracie. You know who I'm talking about, the most photogenic man in jiu-jitsu, possibly in the world. We have Mauricio Gomez, Roger's dad, which is pretty much sells it by itself, to be honest with you. We also have Ross Nichols, Sam Cook, Ffion Davies, and of course me. I'm going to be there, so you can come train with me. I know that's the one you're waiting for. Come train with me. I think I'm going to bring my mics with me. I'm going to maybe record some episodes out there, so you might even be able to be on this podcast or see me record one. I'm not sure, but anyway. There's a lot of stuff to do there. There's going to be seminars, jiu-jitsu seminars, morning, daytime, evening, indoors, outdoors. You can train yoga every day. You can go free diving, water sports, hang out by the beach, pretty much anything you want to do. It's going to be very, very nice. And it's kind of designed not purely for jiu-jitsu people. So let's say your partner isn't into jiu-jitsu or isn't into jiu-jitsu and yoga and they just want a nice holiday. It's a 5-star hotel. They're going to be having a good time. Anyway, if you are interested, go check them out at MajorcaBJJYogaFest.com or check out their Instagram page. And if you're interested in booking, I can give you a discount. You can get 10% off and €50 hotel credit. So that is food, drinks, room service, massages. Not by me personally, but I don't know. Maybe we can talk about that close to the time. So all for that. If you want the discount, just enter code EARLYAPE50. It's the first one that they're doing. It looks incredible. I'm really, really looking forward to being part of it and maybe even see some of you guys there. So yeah, go check it out. MajorcaBJJYogaFest.com. Today I'm joined by Darragh O'Conaill. Darragh he's pretty much the biggest name in Irish BJJ. He's a prolific competitor. He's competed all over the world. He's done all of the big tournaments. He's done the EBIs. He's won, high-level IBJJF events at black belt. Very, very high-level competitor. He also runs an academy, has been running an academy for a very long time. East Coast Jiu-Jitsu, which is houses some of the best competitors in the country, really, and some of the best in the world, to be honest with you. He's competing very soon against Mike Perez at Polaris. That'll be this weekend when this comes out, actually. Been wanting to get Darragh on for a very, very long time, and finally managed to sit down with him, chat about Irish Jiu-Jitsu, chat about his training, how he balances competing at an elite level and running a gym, and a whole host of other things. So really, really enjoyed chatting to Darragh, and I hope you guys enjoy listening. Check it out. Awesome, dude. Firstly, thank you very much for being here.
No problem.
I've been wanting to get you on here for ages, and you were down here. You're down here coaching the guys at the Grand Slam tomorrow.
That's it, yeah.
It's a pretty stacked tournament, isn't it?
Man, it's crazy, yeah. It's like almost as close as the quality of Europeans, I would say. Like the amount of high-level people.
It's because they're offering money.
That's exactly, yeah.
How much is it?
I think it depends on the belts. I think the black belts can win maybe $3,000 if you win.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and then there's also ranking points for qualifying for the actual World Pro.
Do you know how much you get for winning the World Pro?
I believe Ffion got 10,000
really?
for coming second.
Fucking hell!
So maybe
do the female and the males get the same?
Probably not, because it's Abu Dhabi. So I would guess not.
That's still wild.
Yeah, I mean
that was a black belt.
Yeah,
she was a brown belt.
She was a brown belt, but it's brown and black combined for the girls.
$10,000 for second place.
Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure it was something close to that.
That's pretty good, man.
It's crazy, yeah, and especially for someone like her who. So much of her income is dependent on seminars and things like that. It's like it's almost essential to be able to get there and get that money. So
very, very cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, they're doing pretty good things, man. I just wish they'd do a little bit more no-gi.
Yeah, they don't do any, do they?
They did. They used to, didn't they? They used to do the gi and the no-gi worlds at the same time.
So long ago, yeah. I remember seeing Adolfo fighting in that.
Yeah. It's a shame. You fight mainly no-gi, don't you?
I probably do better in no-gi, but I try to do, like for the last while, I've probably done more no-gi. Yeah, that's the last two years. But over the course of my career, I probably have done more gi matches just because there's more gi tournaments.
Sure. Are you still fighting? Are you still training? And
I'm so close. I'm like right in a weird spot, like a weird kind of transition at the moment. So I'm going to be 32 in 2 or 3 months. And I guess I feel like it's just getting harder and harder, man. My body isn't able to keep...
Harder for the no-gi, to do no-gi?
Oh, no, not for...
Harder to do
just competing.
Oh, full stop.
Just competing in general, because my academy and my affiliates have grown so much.
Yeah.
I have so much responsibilities with that, combined with all the athletes that actually train at my actual gym that I work with. And then combined with, man, I played rugby from when I was 8 till I was 18 or 19.
Really?
And then went straight into jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
So, like... I wouldn't say I have injuries, but I have a lot of very close to... Yeah, you know, I just...
Your body's done a lot.
Yeah, and I still have trained in a lot of good environments, so I know what the people are doing, and I know what I used to be able to do, and I'm just not capable of the same volume as I used to be. Yeah. So I still compete, man. I still love to compete, and it's my favorite thing to do, but in terms of my goals are definitely shifting a lot more towards coaching. And the academy and things like that.
Interesting, because that you know, that's one of the things that a lot of people wanted to know about you or asking about you, which is how do you balance? Obviously, you are a high level competitor. You know, you competed at EBI, and you're competing on Polaris in just 2 weeks' time, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And also, you do run a gym. Like, how long's your gym been going for?
9 years now.
Wow.
Will be 10 years. I got it when I was a purple belt, so it was 2010. My old instructor, his name was David Jones, kind of one of the pioneers of Irish Jiu-Jitsu MMA. Yeah. Alongside John Kavanagh and Andy Ryan would be the kind of 3 main people would point to. I got the gym off him when I was a purple belt, 2010. So yeah.
You inherited it off of him.
Basically, yeah. We originally trained in a little leisure center, small room.
Yeah.
And we moved from there to share with another like Thai boxing gym, which actually is run by Cian Cowley, who is the guy who got this is not how he should be known, but he got arrested with Conor McGregor.
Okay, for throwing the dollar.
Yeah, so he was running the Thai boxing.
Okay.
Dave decided once we moved there, like that was kind of like it wasn't a full-time move, but it was okay, we're not in a leisure center anymore. So we moved there. Then once we moved there, he decided he had a lot of injuries and so much different things going on, so he didn't really want to continue. Even though I would have only been 22 at the time. I was the only one, I think, that took it seriously enough that he trusted me to take it and keep it going. So 2010, so nearly 10 years.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is
and
crazy.
You've been full time for that whole time?
Yeah, as soon as that happened, that was pretty much like because I finished school in 2006, and then I went to college for 3 or 4 years after that. So almost instantly, once I finished college, I got the gym, and then I just postponed getting a real job until as long as I could, and it's never had to happen.
You're still waiting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, man, it's so crazy. Time goes so fast.
That's really cool, man. I didn't know that you'd been established for quite that amount of time. That's a really long time.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing I really wanted to talk to you about actually was, you know, I've had a lot of guys on here, and we've kind of, especially the early episodes of the podcast, when I'm talking to some of the pioneers of UK Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I still do now, but early on we had a lot on, and we kind of built like a database almost through the podcast.
I learned so much from that,
of you know, me as well. But I haven't had anyone from Ireland though.
Okay.
So I'm kind of intrigued, and I know that you've been in the game for a long time. Who was the first person in Ireland? And like, I actually want to get a little bit of the Irish Jiu-Jitsu history off of you. So like, I don't know, where'd you start? Who was the first person over there?
I would say that group, the first person is John Kavanagh.
He was the first person doing Jiu-Jitsu.
I mean, that's like pretty much where I can't be. I'm not trying to be 100% on everything here, but as far as I'm aware, John Kavanagh was originally like training karate or training something like that. Found out about jiu-jitsu same way everybody back in the day did through the UFC, the first UFC. He then started like a small training group, trying to do some grappling, reading magazines. Andy Ryan, who runs the second biggest MMA team or jiu-jitsu team, he's had UFC fighters too.
What's it called?
Team Rhino.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's BJ Rodrigo Medeiros is who he's under. But him and John basically kind of started a training group together. Andy, I believe, was a judo black belt at the time, so he knew a bit of groundwork. Sure. John found out about Andy knowing about groundwork. and wanted to meet him. Heard he was good at arm bars or something. I believe the story was. So he was like, "Oh, I got to learn something from Andy. I'm trying to do this." So they started training. My original coach, then Dave Jones, would have got involved. I'm not sure if he was involved in. I think he was involved in traditional martial arts, but those 2 or 3 people, John Kavanagh, Andy Ryan, David Jones, would have been the initial training.
Do you know what sort of time frame that was?
Has to have been at least 15, maybe 17 years ago.
Okay.
Has to have been.
So and maybe like early 2000s.
Yeah. And I would say so. And I believe too, part of the story with John Kavanagh was that he started doing MMA. Once he got trained enough to a certain level, he was doing MMA fights. And Matt Thornton, who's the head of SBG, the whole SBG organization, he met John in South Africa when John was doing an MMA fight. And, and the story is essentially that John was literally there by himself, like no corner, no nothing, just fighting.
Yeah.
Matt met him and was like, "What are you doing? You've no corner. Who are you? What are you up to?"
Crazy motherfucker.
Couldn't believe that he was just there.
Yeah.
And then they trained the next day. And I think, as far as I'm aware, again, don't quote me on it. As far as I'm aware, I think Matt promoted him straight to purple belt, from what I remember. Yeah, because his level was already good enough from a lot of training. Yeah, and then I believe he actually won the Europeans, the very first ever Europeans, 2007. I think is the very first one. John won that purple belt. So yeah, so John's pretty much kind of accredited with being the original.
I'd love to talk to John. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. God, I can't imagine the amount of stories that he has.
Not even like the McGregor stuff and the modern stuff, but actually like the history.
Yeah, the original. Yeah, and that's like, I feel like John, Andy, Dave Jones, these type of guys were the original pioneers, and then I'm like the second.
So when did you start training?
December 2006.
Okay, and how did you get into it?
My PE teacher in school was Dave Jones.
Oh,
so he was my PE teacher, or one of my rugby coaches. He was like the conditioning coach. When you're 16 in Ireland, you do a thing called transition year, which is like not really a real year of school. You do like you do work experience and you do all sorts of different things. So it's like a bit of a break year. So in that PE year, he would show us all sorts of different things, and one of the times he showed us some key locks and Americanas and stuff like that, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. I'd never seen anything like it. And from that I found out about the UFC and Ken Shamrock. It was UFC 44. I remember so specifically the time that I found out. So UFC 44 was Ken Shamrock and Tito Ortiz. And that was
I'm gonna beat you into a living death, right?
Man, that was like, you killed him. And that was like the first UFC, I think, where it was like there was like rivalry. It was kind of like pro wrestling, they had like some rivalry. So that got me into it. But I played rugby then for my last 2 years of school, and I kind of forgot. I didn't forget about it, but I didn't do it. And then once I got sick of playing rugby, once I got out of school, I wanted to do something else, and then that's how I got back into it. Because I remember Dave he said he had a club somewhere, and so it was basically by the pure coincidence of him being my PE teacher that I even knew what it was. Otherwise, I could have never found out.
Crazy, isn't it?
Mad.
You're saying that like you did rugby since you were 8 years old up until you were 18, and then kind of went full steam ahead with jiu-jitsu. I was talking about this yesterday, and I think that is the best way, like for the development of people doing jiu-jitsu, which is, you see so many kids, and I've spoken about this before, but you see so many kids starting jiu-jitsu super young, which is great, because it really does, like, I think that's really helpful as a child, but you can't expect that person to go on to be a world champion. Like, you've been training, do you teach kids?
I don't teach kids.
Okay. That's an interesting thing, 10 years, and you've never, do you have kids classes?
Man, we've over 100 kids and teenagers training. I don't teach them, but...
But, like, how many of those kids have gone from, like, I don't know, 8 or 9 and still been training it when they're in their early 20s. It doesn't really happen.
No.
But I think if you do a different sport that has some connection to jiu-jitsu, and then when you get, because if you start doing, you need to be doing some sort of sport from the age of 7, 8, 9. Like that's the age. You need to be prepubescent for your body to develop the physicality in that way. And this is like one of the things that I never had, and I'm never going to be able to get, which is I had to train really, really hard to be kind of as strong as some people who don't lift at all, because they trained sport when they were a kid, or they wrestled since they were 4 years old, and they're still doing some sort of grappling sport now, and they're just fucking animals, and you can't keep up with them. So I have to work my ass off to kind of even keep the level playing field. But some people, if you can do a different sport like gymnastics, or like a lot of people do judo, or something else, and then when you get bored of that, by the time you're like 16, 17, then it's into to grappling or MMA, and you got a killer.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And that's always one of my biggest concerns when I watch the kids and I watch the teenagers, especially with the parents who are so so vicarious, you know, they are living through their child. They're so keen for their child. And man, you can't talk to I don't even have a kid, so I can't even experience what it's like to have your own kid. But you can't talk to a parent about stuff like that. So all I can do is just watch it happen, and I pray that the kid will continue to keep. You're
just watching this adult going like, you know, as soon as they turn 16, they're gonna
quit, man.
But the ones that actually push the whole, like, this isn't universally true. There will always be an anomaly that slips through. And then you've got like a badass who's been training since they were 4 years old, and now they're in their mid-20s and they're killer. But it's absolutely very, very, very rare. It's definitely an anomaly. But then the more the parents push, like, kids have a natural rebellious streak in their mid-teens, mid to late teens. If you're pushing them to go train, as soon as they have the option not to,
they have to like it for themselves, man. They have to like it for themselves. And you don't like anything until you're old enough, like what you said. Until you're 14, 15, and you start to build an identity for yourself. You decide what you like for you. And often, exactly what you said, if an identity has been pushed upon you, you rebel against it, and you're like, no, I don't want anything to do with that anymore. So I guess the ideal is to force an identity upon them that somehow helps them with whatever.
But isn't what you want them to do.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, make a kid do gymnastics for 15 years. Or 10 years since they're 5 to like 15, 16. When they rebel and you want them to keep on doing gymnastics, they go, no, I want to do jiu-jitsu. You go, fine, if you have to.
No.
But I think rugby's a great one as well. Actually.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. So many benefits to it.
Yeah.
Crazy,
you know, it's essentially a grappling sport. You know, very
man.
much.
I didn't even know, like, I never knew what I was doing. I think rugby and wrestling, like high school or collegiate wrestling, it's the exact same type of thing insofar as you have to do it when you're young, because one, your body is capable, and then two, you've no idea what you're doing. So like, if I can't even imagine trying to play rugby now. It's the most nuts thing. When I watch a rugby match, I'm like, I can't believe I used to do that. I used to run around a pitch for fucking 80 minutes, smashing into people. I cannot believe it. So now when I try, like, no one's starting rugby when they're 30. No. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like, that's like, I guess the cool thing about jiu-jitsu is you can start whenever. But yeah, it's insane to look back and be like, I can't believe that's what I used to do. It's just nuts. But such a good base, man. Your cardio, your competitiveness, the physicality, everything about it. I would actually I believe a lot people would be better at rugby if they understood more to do with wrestling and judo and takedowns and stuff like that.
You see a lot of people working with a lot of high-level rugby teams getting in jiu-jitsu coaches.
We've done that too at our gym. We've worked with, like, obviously rugby is the only professional sport in Ireland, so we've the only thing you can do from a young age and go straight into being a professional and have to leave Ireland. We don't have professional soccer. All the people go to England and they play for the English teams. Other than that, we have 2 Irish sports: Gaelic football and hurling. But other than that, rugby is the only thing you can do professionally. And we're really good at it because of that. It's the only thing with infrastructure. So that's the only thing you can do from when you're young to go straight for. The second that you finish school, you're going to go into playing professional. So we have a lot of competitive schools in our area. And we've myself and some of our other coaches have worked with them, and it's amazing, man. It's so funny. It's class because they're already athletes and they're already competitive. So like,
you teach them a takedown or you teach them a guard pass, and they go for it.
They absolutely go for it. Like, they're so competitive, which is cool because usually who you get in martial arts classes is the opposite. You know, you think you're going to work with a lot of athletes and, you know, people like this, and you eventually do, but like you said, you have to transform them into that. It's so rare that you get an actual athlete.
When you get a rugby player or you get a big built guy who's also smart and can take the coaching, because you have the guy who comes in who's never going to be any good because he's never going to listen to you. But when you get a rugby player come in with an open mind and who's willing to learn,
it's dangerous.
It's a perfect student.
Unreal. Dangerous.
So working with the rugby teams is pretty cool. But yeah, there's a few. I know I've had Dean Amersinger on. He works with England rugby. He's a contact coach and he works with them, and he works in Japan with rugby teams as well, teaching them grappling and wrestling and stuff like that. So there's definitely a massive crossover. I've always thought like judo's a great base, wrestling's a great base, gymnastics is a great base, but actually rugby's a really good base as well.
I definitely agree, man.
So let's move on to kind of your career a little bit. And I put the thing out on Instagram asking questions, and people they pretty much were all the same, to be honest with you.
The questions?
They were all about one thing which I actually completely forgot about, which was the Kumite.
Man. You know?
So this was, when was this now?
2012.
Yes. So a lot of people listening to this will have no idea what this even is. But in 2012, Lloyd Irvin was sort of at the top of his, who really isn't that big anymore.
Lloyd Irvin?
Yeah.
Last year he made a pretty big resurgence, man. He had 2 black belt world champions last year.
Yeah, I guess he's got Tim Spriggs and...
Muhammad Ali won the black belt worlds last year, and Jamil Hill-Taylor.
But I just mean, I don't know. I might have just blocked all of his stuff, to be honest with you. Yeah. But like, I just remember there was a time in like 2011, 2012 where he's just huge. In your face all the... It was with the marketing stuff.
Yeah, no, he's not like that anymore.
Yeah, he's not. I think like after all the shit went down with the, all of that stuff, other stuff we don't need to talk about now. I've spoken about that before. But he's been a lot more quiet. But he was like super. He was just a massive name,
huge, yeah.
And he was all over the internet. And he had this guy called Keenan Cornelius.
That's it.
And Keenan was killing it. This was at brown belt. Yep. Keenan was killing it, and he basically offered a challenge out to who could come and beat Keenan in a no time limit match, I think it was. And I can't remember how it started.
So it spiraled from there. It was originally Keenan had won double gold at every single purple belt event. Who can beat him? I believe Jackson Souza or Felipe Pana at the time was the person who was meant to fight him. They couldn't get the visa for one of them. They tried the other. They couldn't get the visa. And then it was like, okay, well, who the hell wants to do it at all? Do you know what I mean? Just name anybody. And then that turned into, what if we get a good brown belt from a bunch of different countries? Because
I can't remember who the first 2 were. Wait, do you remember when you got picked into it? It was late. I think it was
a bit later, but I don't remember the first.
Because I was picked as one of the first, like before it was going to be a tournament.
Okay.
Just because I got loads of really cool fans and they just all voted for me.
Yeah.
And he picked me, and in the end I had to pull out of it. So I got.
So you were supposed to be there too?
I was meant to be there.
Crazy.
And I gave my place to Luke Costello.
Luke Costello, yeah, man.
Yeah. Damn. So I was meant to be there, and I think there was me and another American who were the first ones. There was like 2 people who were invited, and then he was like, "Fuck it, let's just get loads of people. Let's make a 8-man bracket." I think it was.
I can't remember how many. There was more than 8 in the end.
It might have been 10 or something. There was quite a few, and I had just been diagnosed with my I'd had back injuries all year, but I had a good year. I won Europeans at Brown, Nogi Europeans at Brown. I won NAGA. I'd done like a few things, but my back was still like really up and down. Okay, because I know we're going to talk about your back in a bit as well, because I know you've had problems with your back. But I'd just been diagnosed kind of maybe a few weeks before. That happened, or just before it was about to start, and they were like, your back's fucked, like you've broken your back, and I was like, oh shit, I can't do this. And then I gave my place to Luke Costello, and he went out there. Crazy. But yeah, it's actually funny when you look at that now, because all of the people who were there like went on to be really big names. So it was Keenan, AJ Agazarm, Gary Tonnen, Sean Roberts, yourself,
Victor Silverio,
Luke Costello, who else?
AJ Souza, there was a guy from Switzerland called Thomas Oyertsen, another guy called Ilki Bullet from Europe.
I fought him.
There was a guy from Mexico called Wero who had a rough old time on that show. And who else? Was there 1 or 2 others? But yeah, essentially, like you said, nearly every single person who was involved in it has since gone on to be
massively successful.
It was a pivotal point in my career. The fact that it ended up being a round robin. So I initially thought it was just going to be IBJJF.
So they changed everything, like, because there was no plan to begin with.
Yeah, really.
So it was like, let's get someone to fight Keenan. Then it was, okay, let's get a load of people to fight Keenan. And then, okay, we can't have, and then there was going to be a tournament, and the winner was going to fight Keenan. And then everyone was like, that sounds like bullshit, you know? And then it was, nah, it's going to be a round robin, and Keenan's in it.
Yeah. They told us that when we were there.
And it was gi and no gi?
Yeah, you had to fight the same person, gi, and then no gi back to back.
Fuck. And there was no time limits.
6 matches each day.
So I obviously, once I pulled out, I was kind of gutted because it became such a massive thing.
Huge, yeah.
But when I saw what you guys were doing,
it's crazy.
I was like, I'm absolutely happy that I'm not there, because the way that my back was, I could not do that. There was no way in fuck I could. I don't even think I could do that with my back. Like, it's in a really good place now, but I don't even think it just ludicrous.
I don't think they understood how hard it was. Yeah. Like, I don't think they even fathomed how long it would go on for, and how
it was just hypothetical, really.
Because I remember the first day it took hours. I mean, we had to fight 6 times. Every person had to fight 6 times
a day,
each day. Gi, no gi, gi, no gi, gi, no gi, and you're there
for a week.
It was Monday till Thursday, and then the finals were on the Friday. So,
Outrageous.
Yeah, so it was like even the first day we were there, no one brought any food or like, do you know what I mean? You thought you have a few little snacks because you think it's just going to be a normal type of thing, and then all of a sudden we're there for hours and hours, and I think I would say half the people got injured. Like, because you just can't not get injured.
It's impossible.
Basically.
Like, it's the most ludicrous thing that I've ever heard of.
Yeah, it's the most ludicrous thing I ever did.
Because realistically, even if you go to World Championships, you go to ADCC, they're going to split. ADCC, there's 16-man matches, 4 fights.
4 matches, yeah.
You can have 2 on the first day and then 2 on the second day, right?
Yeah. And those are some of the longer type of matches, too.
A maximum of 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Maximum.
Yeah.
Realistically. Because it's only the final that goes overtime, I think.
Exactly, yeah.
And you need 2 days. Now imagine doing that for 5 days.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Now imagine instead of having 2 matches, there's 6 matches.
And
instead of them being 10 minutes, there's no time limit.
And imagine you have to get tapped. You know what I mean? You have to tap the person or get tapped. Yeah. So that even just that mentality about it, often in things like ADCC and IBJJF, the technicalities and the rules, oh, the referee screwed me, oh, I made this one tiny mistake. It's like, no, you had to tap. One of the days, I lost all 6 matches. I lost to Keenan twice, Luke Costello twice, and AJ Souza twice. So I lost 6 matches in one day. I tell my students this all the time.
Yeah.
Like that if people get scared about losing. It's like, try not only losing 6 times in one day, getting tapped 6 times in one day.
Tap 6 times in one day by 3 people.
Yep.
That's like, you get tapped by them, you got to find them again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, and like, fuck me. You're 75 kilos?
I would have been around the time, yeah.
Luke Costello's over 100 kilos.
Oh, man, yeah. Keenan was a bit bigger than me as well. But either way, it was so insane because I would never have... I was so happy that it turned out the way it did, because if it was knockout, I would have just lost right away. I would have just lost straight away. And the second he was like, oh, everyone's going to fight everyone, I was like, oh, sick, I get to fight every single person twice.
Yeah.
So I was like, some of the people, I lost to them and then I beat them. Some of the people, I beat them and then I lost to them. Some people, I didn't actually know who they were, so I did good against them. Some of the people, I'd already fought Luke a few times, so I knew, oh, he's massive and he's really good too, so that was hard. But, man, it's the most mentally challenging thing.
I didn't even realize it was that bad, to be honest with you. 6 matches a day.
Bro, I fought Victor Silverio for an hour and 15 minutes. Hour and 15 minutes. Like, can you imagine that? Like, how long we're talking for here the whole time we're fighting? And like, he's like talking to me during the match and stuff, being like, when are you going to give up? When are you going
to... He threw a few wobblies, didn't he?
Yeah, man. And
it was against
Sean Roberts. He started like almost slapping him. Yeah. But
and then
again, though, this is where we talk about the mentality of it. I was going in there as, I'm just the absolute minnow. There's nothing expected of me. He's going in there as already world champion. He's won a bunch of things. He has a perception of himself that he's really good, and now all of a sudden he's losing. By the time he was nearly smacking Sean Roberts, was the 6th match of the day, and if I'm not mistaken, he would have lost all of his matches that day. So you're talking about a world champion who's suddenly been thrust into a situation where their whole life perception is being flipped on them.
That's fucking
it's crazy. Yeah, so like they need a heel, and they made it look all crazy, you know, like, which it kind of he definitely did lose his cool.
Yeah,
but I can understand. I can understand it. Do you know what I mean, man? If you were going in there as someone who's supposed to be the person who could win, and then you've lost, he would never lose more than 1 time in a day, and now he's lost 5 times in a day on camera, and after
submitted every time, and no excuses.
And after each loss, they're like, "Hey, what's going on?" Do you know what I mean? They have the camera right in his face. So what was up in that match? How come that happened and stuff? You know, trying to get content out of it, but. And then Brazilians are generally a bit more emotional, shall we say, than other people. So, man, I totally understood where it was coming from on his point. I'm sorry for him that he lost it like that. Because the 2 things that people say to me is BJJ Kumite was awesome, and man, Victor Silverio was nuts when he was on there. Those are like the two most common things. Yeah. But,
that was a really, really crazy. Nothing had been done like that. Nothing will ever. I doubt anything will ever be done like that before.
It can't be done, man. Who has the funding to do that? To bring like all those athletes to the one place? Who also has the same? It was just the perfect timing with all the hype and everything about it was just so nuts. But genuinely, like transformative experience for my life. Yeah, because man, it was so hard. Yeah. It was so hard to fight 6 times. You know, after a competition, your mind is racing. Yeah. You're not only physically tired, but your mind. My mind goes nuts. I can't stop thinking about everything that happened. Yeah. So you've 6 matches to fucking think about.
Go to bed because you've got another 6 tomorrow.
Exactly, and then the next day, and then the next day.
So it was 30 matches altogether.
People got injured, so it didn't end up being like that. I did 6 the first day, 6 the second day, 6 the third day, and on the last day I think I only did 2. I think I just did Sean Roberts on the last day. I didn't get to fight with AJ Agazarm or Thomas. I think they both got injured, so that took away my last 4. So what's that? 6, 12, 18, 20. 20. And then one of them was an hour and 15, and then a couple of the others were like 30 or 40 minutes. I'll tell you this,
Man,
one of my best attributes
crazy.
one of my best attributes in jiu-jitsu is just pure stubbornness.
Yeah.
Like I may not be the fucking flashiest or like most tech guy, but I definitely don't give up easy.
Yeah.
So it somehow weirdly played into my like, I didn't have the same skills that other people did,
But you were tougher.
exactly, man. Like the match with Victor, after the hour and 15, he just said stop.
Yeah.
He like, there wasn't even a submission.
Yeah.
He just was like,
He's done.
and I thought so many times in my
About
head,
doing it.
in my mind, so many times I'm like,
Fuck
I
this
just
shit.
quit. And
Yeah.
I was like, if I quit, I'll fucking remember that
Yeah,
forever.
yeah,
I
yeah.
cannot just voluntarily.
Yeah.
If he chokes me and I'm gonna go unconscious, I'll tap.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not just gonna give up for giving up. It just would have ate at me so much, and I'm so happy that I didn't.
Yeah.
And when he did, I was like, oh man, I can't believe, like,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that they did it. That would have just killed me, man. To just voluntarily ask,
Yeah.
can we stop? Like,
Yeah.
no, that's not me anyway.
What a wild thing. Even just as you're saying it, I'm like imagining all of those thoughts, like the psychology, like the mental warfare that's going on there, even like not on purpose, just the fact that you want to give up, he wants to give up, and
Yeah.
just he happens to crack.
Yeah.
But like you're probably thinking, you had no idea he was thinking about
No.
giving up. He had no idea that you were thinking about giving up.
No, it was just right at the end. I remember very well. He was just killing me. I'd say you're talking 10,000 nil on points. You know what I
Really?
mean? Over the course of an hour, man. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Not hard to do,
I
yeah.
think how many times
Yeah.
he's passed my guard or mounted me or took my back. But after about 20 minutes, I got a vibe for he's not going to be able to finish me.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be hard as fuck for me to get him, but he's not going to get me. I could just tell he wasn't going to be able to submit me. So it was just a matter of time until about an hour later, I got on top of him. I got into half guard, got the underhook, pressured a bit, and he was just like, fuck this, I'm done. Do you know what I mean? So crazy. Very crazy. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
crazy, man.
And what was it like outside of the fight? And like, were you staying in the fighters'
Yeah,
houses?
everybody
then?
was
In-
everybody was
Is
staying
the
there.
jungle?
Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
How was
think
that?
It was cool. I mean, I'd never seen anything like it, man. Do you know
Well,
what
I
I mean?
don't think it exists anywhere else in the world.
Yeah. So
Till
I
this
actually
day.
went. He offered everyone who was on the show, if you want to come before the tournament to train, you can. I was the only one who went because I was
Okay.
the only one who didn't have a team.
Yeah.
Like, I was just training by myself essentially. So
Yeah.
I was like, of course I'll go and train, because I mean they had so many good people training there at the time. JT, DJ Jackson, Andres Bernovs, because Mike Perez actually was there. That's when I first met him. He
Yeah.
was a blue belt training there.
Most of the top guys at Atos started
Exactly.
at what we're at, yeah.
So I went for the week or two before to do training, and I'd actually trained with Keenan a bunch of times before we ended up fighting. But the training environment was, I'd just never seen anything like that myself. The way that they were
It's super
training,
intense.
incredibly intense.
Really?
Yeah, like an army, man.
Really?
Like, yeah, incredibly intense. Now, I don't mean that in a negative way or bad way. It was something I just had never seen before, man. I'd never seen people taking jiu-jitsu that
Serious.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was just a different type of thing. So not only the training environment, but the whole tournament experience. And then, like you were asking about the jungle house, I'd never seen that, man. I'd never seen 10 people in a house completely dedicated to living their life from jiu-jitsu or trying to live their life from jiu-jitsu. So like, there was pros and cons to it for sure, but at the time it was definitely all amazing. It was just like, wow, all of you guys just live here and you all train together and that's all that you do. Like, at the time it was mind-blowing to me anyway.
Yeah. And then obviously a few years later, I don't even think it was a few years later. I think it was later.
Man, it was almost. So do you want to know something really, really crazy?
Yeah,
right.
go on.
So we went in 2012. It was December, because you remember 2012. You won the Nogi Euros. I did that same Nogi Euros.
Yeah.
And then off the back of winning that is how I basically got invited.
Yeah.
So then the Kumite was November, December 2012.
That's right.
I'd never seen a training environment like that before. After the tournament, Lloyd is like, if anyone wants to come back and train ever again.
It was New Year's Eve.
So that's
everything went down,
That's
yeah.
when the initial thing happened, right? So then 2013, the Pan Ams is around this time of year, March. I went home. I was like, to the few students I had, I was like, look guys, this place is nuts. You wouldn't believe the training. Who wants to come with me? I'm going to go back.
Yeah.
My student Marcus was like, yeah, I'll go. He was, I think he was 18.
That's
or
Marcus
19.
Philip?
Marcus Phelan. Yeah. He's actually fighting on Polaris next
Yeah.
week too. So anyway, he came with me. We went back March 2013, and we were actually there. Me and Marcus were there when everybody left.
Oh,
the actual
no
night,
way.
bro. The actual night when they left. So we arrived, I would say, on a Sunday. We trained Monday and Tuesday, and then on Wednesday night, we were staying in the jungle house, me and Marcus, and everybody bolted. So like everybody left.
So for people who don't know the situation, on New Year's Eve, two of Lloyd Irvin's students allegedly sexually assaulted another one of his students on New Year's Eve after a party, blah, 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 all of that stuff. Then it comes out that Lloyd Irvin himself was allegedly involved in another sexual assault situation. And it just kind of blew up and went crazy. And just one day there was an exodus where JT and Keenan and
Andres, Mike Perez,
all of these guys just disappeared in the middle of the night and left.
And
I think they were just advised, like, look, this ship is sinking, get the fuck out. So you were there,
man. We were literally there because
was there like grumblings? Like,
what happened? It was weird because the night that it happened, we went to training, and there was, I remember so specifically, Andres and JT were like sitting outside the building, and they were sitting on the curbside, kind of like head in their hands, kind of like weird looking, like energy about it. And I was like, that's kind of weird. I was like, hey guys, what's up? Do you know what I mean? And they were just like, kind of brushed me off. And I was like, okay, that's weird. Went to training. None of the guys were really in the training except for JT, and JT was just like just seemed so angry or something. He's just like crushing people. And we were like, hey, this is kind of strange. Anyway, head home, went back to the jungle. When we came back into the house, everybody was like sitting around, like clearly having a meeting, discussing what was going on. And me and Marcus just like stroll in, complete outsiders, and it's like kind of silent all of a sudden. I was like, well, this is kind of awkward. But how could we have predicted? We had no idea. So we were just like, fuck it, we'll go to bed. We went upstairs. We were sleeping in kind of a dorm type room, other people in the room, bunk beds. And I got up at maybe 3 or 4 a.m. to go take a piss. And when I woke up, the other bunk beds were empty. And I was like, that's kind of weird. Why is the bunk beds empty? Open the door. All of the doors on the landing are all open into the other people's bedrooms, and everyone's gone. Wow. I was like literally rubbing my eyes, like just woke up, you know what I mean? Just rubbing my eyes. And I went back into Marcus. I was like, man, everybody's gone. Like, what is going on? Everyone's gone. He woke up too, and he was like, what do you mean everyone's gone? We went downstairs. There was one kid left who had just arrived a couple weeks ago. Some other guy who has moved to Lloyd Irvin's to train. And he was like, I don't know what's going on. I was the last person to find out, but you guys should just get out of here. Do you know what I mean? Just get out of here. Go. We changed our flights and we went to Lovato's to train then.
Really?
But man, it's the most, people almost don't believe me when I tell them the story, because it's like a crazy piece of jiu-jitsu history.
Yes.
Like all those guys going to Atos, like changed kind of like the face of so much
stuff.
It
turned Atos into the strongest gym in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like, we were literally there when they were there, and then they left. It's so nuts, man. And then I remember even more because... So you left that the next day? The same day when we just left that house, went to a hotel. We were like, this is so creepy and weird. I don't know what's going on. Shit. All the guy was saying, he was like, don't go to the gym, or you know what I mean? Don't go to the gym.
Talk to Lloyd or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we just went to a hotel. I tried to change our flights. We went to Oklahoma and then trained from there. And then at the Pan Ams, in the absolute, I ended up fighting against Keenan in the second or third round. I against Keenan, fought him, lost, and then afterwards he was like, "Man, I'm sorry that
we didn't tell you."
Yeah, but he was like, "You have to understand," and I do understand. He was like, "You have to understand, you were an outsider as far as we were, in terms of the team, and we felt bad, but like, what can you do?" And I was like, look, man, what do you like? Well, I totally get it, but yeah, really, really crazy.
That's
man.
Crazy.
Yeah, so nuts. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So literally, that's like the split or something of like when Alliance was formed. It's like a pit. It's such a.
Oh yeah, it was, but it wasn't. That's one of the most. It is an iconic moment from jiu-jitsu history because it wasn't. Okay, we're gonna leave. See you later. We're splitting off. It was based off. They disappeared in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Literally in the middle of the night.
Yeah, and I think about that with regards to my own team. I'm like, imagine I just woke up and everybody was just gone, and then like no one told me anything or no one said anything, and everyone was just, I was like, what would I have had to have done for that to be the way that they would go? We
probably know what you would have had to have done.
Yeah, but you know what I mean though. But that's what made me think about it. I was like, what is going on that they just felt like they couldn't say anything or that they just left. So
I think the thing is with Lloyd, I think that I don't think you can say something. I don't know. I've never met the guy.
Very intimidating presence, man. Very intimidating, and not in a bad way. Like my students still compete against his all the time. So I still interact with him, and I would never be ungrateful for the chance that I got and how much that benefited me. But yeah, he just is the way that he is. He's very intimidating. Leader, whatever way you want to put it. So yeah, I can't
imagine those guys
not the most
going
approachable
face to face. Yeah, that's what I mean.
And especially even more so then when they would have all been younger, lower belts,
early
etc.
20s.
Yeah. So
wow,
yeah, crazy, huh?
what a crazy time.
I know, man.
That's a cool story. I had no idea about that.
Yeah.
That you were out there. That's really, really crazy. So I know that you're affiliated under the Ribeiro brothers.
Not anymore.
Oh,
It's okay. No,
Okay.
Don't worry, man. Don't worry, man. It's all good. It's all good. Don't worry.
so always a bad
Since
move.
last year. So.
Okay, who are you under now?
We just have ECJJ as
Association.
on the IBJJF. Yeah. So
Okay, so what degree belt are you?
I believe I'm supposed to be first degree.
Okay,
I got my black belt 2014. So 2020 I should be second degree. I don't actually have one.
Can you have your own association as a first degree?
Yeah, so anybody can make a team on the IBJJF, I think, once you're brown belt, but you need a third degree black belt to sign for you. So, like, I can give people black belts because I have this other guy who's going to sign for it. Do you get me?
Okay.
So if you wanted to make, if you're, what are you, first degree? First degree?
First, yeah.
So if you wanted to make whatever Raspberry Ape team, whoever you know that is a third degree black belt,
They just need to sign off on
yeah.
that.
So that's all that it is.
So who are you under now?
So, like, I mean, I am the head of the association. I have a friend of mine his name is Haniki. He's a third degree black belt.
He signs off your black belts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know if.
So how do you cool to talk about the Ribeiro brothers?
Of course, man.
Yeah. Okay. So how did you meet? Was it off of Lovato when you went?
The other
out
way
there?
around. I met Lovato through them.
Okay. So you were already with the Ribeiro brothers.
So 2010, like I said, was when I got the gym off my original teacher.
Yeah.
And at that point, his gym was more of an MMA type gym. We didn't do gi or anything. It was just no gi grappling. And 2010, I also started competing all the time, and there was more gi tournaments. So I was like, okay, gi is the way to go. I have to learn this anyway. I had the summer off from college to go to America. I looked up, this was before Facebook or before anything, so it was like SureDog Forum. Where's the best place to train in California? This is 2010. In 2008, Shanji had beaten Hodger for the second time.
Yeah.
So it's still very fresh, and they just opened the University of Jiu-Jitsu afterwards. So when I was looking up, where's the best place to go? Everyone says San Diego, University of Jiu-Jitsu. I was like, okay, I'll go there. When I showed up on the first day, and this is how mad things were at the time, I wasn't even aware of a Jiu-Jitsu World Championships for lower belts. I knew that black belts could do World Championships, but I rocked up in 2010 at the start of May, so right before the Worlds, and I go in on the first day, man, there was like Cron Gracie, Justin Rader, Lovato, Damian Maya, like all sorts of people there, like
training for the Worlds.
Damian Maya wasn't training for the Worlds, but all the other guys were training for the Worlds. So I walk in, I'm just like, hey, I'm here to train, and they're like, oh, you're doing the Worlds, and I was like, what do you mean am I doing the Worlds? I'm just purple belt, you know what? Like, and they're like, no, you can do it. I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing the Worlds.
You signed up.
Yeah, I was just literally like, sure, okay, of course I'll do it. I went from the biggest competition I would have done at that time was the British Open.
Yeah.
So like I went from that to not even understanding that you could do World Championships to 2010. I did the Worlds that time. So when I showed up, I'd looked up where's the best place to go. Everyone said this place.
Yeah.
Then when I showed up, all these crazy people that I've seen on like TV, as far as I'm concerned, are literally in there. And then they're telling me about World Championships and stuff like that. So I was like, man, this is the place to be.
Nice.
Michael Liera was a juvenile blue belt at the time. He was originally there. A bunch of people, man. Yeah. So that's how I just through the internet. I just looked up where to go. I went. I had a very good experience. I wasn't really in a position to know. I think anything would have been better than what I was doing, if that makes sense. I think
so you were just coaching yourself, basically. At that
yeah,
point.
just literally just whatever Dave had shown me, combined with 2009 or 10. Marcel Garcia in Action was the first online website, so I was using that. So that was basically my teacher, was just MG in Action. And then I don't know why did he not have his gym or something, or no, he must have. I don't know why I didn't go to New York. Now that I think about it, I don't know why I didn't go there, because I was like looking at his stuff online.
I think your game is quite based on Marcelo's game.
Oh man,
as well,
I mean, like so much of my jiu-jitsu I learned literally off that online site. That was the first one that came out. But anyway, so I went to San Diego, and like I said, I didn't really have a training environment or any knowledge of really anything. So I suppose anything would have been better than what I was doing.
Sure.
But really good experience, super hard training, very traditional kind of training approach.
Yeah.
But for me at the time, it was like, this is nuts, you know?
Yeah. And then that, you decided to affiliate with the Ribeiro brothers. And did you get much training with those guys?
Yeah, I've trained so much with unfortunately for me, with Salo and Shanji, and I've trained Raphael probably the most, I think, out of all of them.
How is it? Because I've not rolled with any three of those, but like three proper legends in grappling. And like Shandy Ribeiro, you could make an argument for the second best in the world of his generation after Roger. You know, and he did beat Roger twice.
Roger beat him more times.
Roger beat him more times though, and a bit more convincingly. But like, really, you know, he was Roger's rival, top rival.
Yeah,
you know,
man, he's the only person who could do stuff to him, basically.
And you know what? Like, Shandy's still killing it.
Man,
like
I think he medaled at the last ADCC.
He did. He came third at the last ADCC, but he lost to Gordon Ryan
just barely decision.
On a decision.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. He's insane.
And how old is he?
35 or 36,
crazy.
I'd say. Yeah, nuts. Guy's insane. To train with them is very much like, I don't know if you've ever met either of them. Salo's very intense, and Shanji's very friendly and outgoing.
From my experience, they were both pretty intense.
Okay. Well, generally,
he was terrifying, man. Shandy Ribeiro is a terrifying.
Was it at a competition or something?
It was after ADCC actually.
Okay.
I met Sal beforehand, and there's a really funny picture. Me and my friend Chris was there, and he got a picture with him, and he was wearing an RGA t-shirt. Okay. This is a time where there was a real rivalry between the two. So, that was Leo Vieira actually. That was someone different. That's completely different. But I remember he took a picture and he was smiling, and then he looked at the shirt, and then it was picture with me, and he was just not smiling at all. No, I met Sal at the Worlds way back then. I met Shandy after ADCC, and the size of him was crazy.
Oh yeah, man.
Just like a naturally a huge dude. Like I remember his knees were just like 3 times the thickness of my knees. They're just absolutely massive dude and fully terrifying.
Yeah. And natural in general, I think, is how you would describe. I would hesitate to call anybody natural or anything, because obviously there's hard work involved. But what people would always say from talking to Raphael and talking with Salo and people, that Shanji never actually probably worked as much as other people worked.
Yeah.
But he was just always able to just pull things off, you know, and that sorry, not to say that it's insane to say that he hasn't worked hard, but essentially that he probably could have been doing a lot more than what he was doing, but still would. I mean, he's what 6 or 7 time world champion.
He's a freak.
Yeah. So, but for training with both of them, I always found Shanji more playful and more like easygoing.
Sal just a nightmare.
Yeah, just destroy you, man. Just like he enjoys like. I think there's two types of jiu-jitsu.
He just enjoys fucking your shit.
Well, there's 2 types of jiu-jitsu, I think, right? There's the more modern style, which is like tricks. It's like you do a trick and then you're just on the person's back.
Yeah.
And there was no, like, as far as the person you're fighting is concerned, you're just like this, and then they're behind you and choking you. As far as Salo's concerned, is even if he doesn't tap you, you're gonna feel like you were in a fight. You understand? So it's like you feel it. You get absolutely smashed, nearly choked unconscious from being cross-faced. You know, like he'll try to submit you with things that aren't submissions.
I love it.
To test you. Do you know what I mean? That's his vibe. It's not, his vibe isn't tricks or fancy things. It's just make you feel miserable and try to make you quit without. I suppose now that I think about it, that probably credited to some of my success when I did the no time limit was he would try to always make you give up for things that aren't submissions, just suffocate, making you claustrophobic, putting pressure on you, making you feel real stupid, like that type of thing. But yeah, I mean, the guy's an absolute icon, He
is, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, insane.
And Lovato.
So I met Lovato through there. So I went there 2010, went back again 2011 in the summer. And when I went back 2011, some of the guys who were originally there weren't there anymore. And I was like, why? And they were some of the better guys, or the guys I kind of looked up to. And I was like, where have they gone? And people said they had gone to train with Raphael in Oklahoma.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I knew obviously Lovato was fucking legend too. But I didn't know you could go there as well to train. I mean, I was very naive. I didn't know anything about anything really. So then 2012, before the Kumite, so it would have been the summer of that year, I went to train in Oklahoma because of having met Raphael in San Diego. Yeah. So, and that's at the time too. Now Raphael's much more MMA focused now, so he doesn't put much effort into or at the moment he's not putting his time into the jiu-jitsu team. Yeah. But at the time, they had a huge jiu-jitsu team, huge squad of people.
Did he win Worlds?
Raphael?
Was he the first
second
off the BJ pen?
Yeah, 2007. BJ won, I think, 97. Wow. Lovato won 2007, and then Mikey Musumeci won 2017. So it's like 10
10
years, 10
years
years,
in
10
between.
years. Yeah, so Lovato was the first one.
That is crazy, isn't it?
Oh, like, I mean, sure, it just shows you that, like, I think it's eventually going to
They
shift.
ain't there yet.
They're
not there yet.
No, it's going to shift.
Yeah.
But yeah, that just shows you, man. Three people basically who aren't Brazilian.
In 3 decades.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Whoa.
It's crazy, yeah. Now, Rafael got to the finals and semifinals a bunch of other times, but that was 2007 was the time that he did it, yeah.
So he is competing against Jake Shields next weekend.
Yeah.
Who you got?
Ah, come on, man. Gotta go Rafael for sure.
What's he walking around at? Because I saw him a few years ago, and he looked fucking yoked.
Massive, yeah. I think
he was like over 100 kilos. He
does MMA
jacked.
185, so 185 pounds. So
he's probably walking around at 100 kilos.
I would imagine.
Do you know what he's fighting at for the
Polaris? I actually don't.
It might be for like heavyweight division. I don't know.
He was talking about cutting weight, like when we get there. So I would imagine it has to be 85, maybe 90 something kilos. The only division it's done by UFC weights, isn't it?
Yeah.
So maybe it's middleweight for UFC 185.
Maybe.
And he's doing a big cut for it.
Because then it would be no, there's a light heavyweight, but it might be light heavyweight because if he wins, it will be him versus Craig Jones, which would be fucking cool.
Wow, yeah, that would be sick.
Yeah,
I'd still bet on Rafael though.
Yeah,
yeah, man, the guy's incredible, man. I've seen him train with people. I've seen him. How
old's he now?
I think he's probably the same as Shanji, 34, 35 around.
And you still have him over Craig?
Man, his pressure is amazing, man.
Really?
His pressure is amazing. I believe that for sure, should Craig be able to get to a leg position,
he can finish
is the difficulty.
Yeah.
But you got to get him now. Rafael's been he's lost a few times with leg locks. He got a steam lock by Bradley Estima before. But I want to see it. I got to back him, man. I've been friends with him for so long. I couldn't possibly root against him.
You know, just talking about Craig Jones, you saw I posted the other day.
Yeah,
so I was going,
man.
That was crazy.
I know, man. People don't.
So I go through your Instagram.
That's Mystic Darragh
and
right there.
And Craig messaged me and he was like, "Holy shit, that's mad! It's Mystic Darragh." Which was on your Instagram, January 2017.
Yep.
It's a photo of you training out in Melbourne.
Yep.
And you're going, this guy 2 over from me is Craig Jones.
Yep.
Nobody had heard who, like he'd won.
It was before
purple belt
Worlds.
Qualified for ADCC, but this is Australia.
Yep.
You know, he was just another guy who's won purple belt, and you're going. I think he just got his black belt.
Well, yeah, probably, yeah.
Because it was the first EBI, because you fought him in EBI, didn't you?
But that's what was the most messed up thing was. Yeah. So my sister lives in Melbourne, so I've been there a few times actually, and trained there a bunch of times since. But that time that I went, yeah, exactly.
Did you fight him first fight?
Second.
Yeah.
So I'd been there, trained with him, and I couldn't do anything to the guy, you know, like his style at the time. Now, so many of these moves and stuff have become mainstream now, but at the time I was like, what is he even doing? It was so confused. Like, I just have no knowledge of what was going on. He would just tap me all the time. And man, like I said in the post, I've trained in a lot of places with a lot of different people.
Yeah.
And there's not many people who can. There's people who can dominate you, but there's not many people who will obliterate you with submissions and tap you a bunch of times. You know, it's one thing someone passes your guard a load of times. Yeah. It's another thing to get
Was he leg locking you? Or just,
yeah. So many heel hooks. Yeah, basically, yeah. And so this is what was happening in the room. Then I essentially, I wouldn't say I got him on, but I messaged Eddie Bravo because I was in the previous EBI, the third one, and I was like, "Here, this guy is amazing. Get him on there."
You got him onto EBI,
so I got him on, and then in the second, I fought some guy in the first round, but Craig was going to be my second match, and already in my head, man, I was like,
"Fuck,
how am I going to try to beat someone who I've just trained with?" And I couldn't beat them at all.
But man, why did Eddie do that? If you're the one who got him on there, you said you've been training with him. That was kind of messed up.
Yeah, whatever, man.
But yeah, you know, I thought it was so crazy. It's January 2017. You wrote, "Watch out for this guy. Yeah, he's going to do big things." Oh man! And it was September 2017 where he had the his run at ADCC, and now he's one of the best in the world.
Yeah, I pride myself on my ability. I feel like I have a very good ability to. See jiu-jitsu, or you know what I mean? There's many things I'm not capable of myself, but I feel like I have a very good understanding from many years of watching, and I'd never felt what I felt going against him. And like I said, I've trained with so many different people. I was like, this guy for sure. It doesn't matter who he goes against. It's going to be, and even more powerful, because at the time nobody knew who he was.
Yes.
So they're completely discounting anything about him, just like, some Australian guy. Do you know what I mean? So, but so happy for him too, man. Because like when I was there, he would come and meet me at the gym at any time that was available to me to roll. He was just so absorbed in everything, and constantly, he was looking at leg locks at a time when leg locks were still fake as far as people were concerned. Like it's only
I still think they are, but
yeah. Some people might still agree, but you know what I mean. Like nowadays, since the last year
massive,
or two, it's gotten so huge, man. Like for me and you getting our black belts, you wouldn't have even been really expected to have a knowledge of that stuff. No. Whereas now, all that stuff has been added in. It's like you can't really consider yourself a black belt without some knowledge of that type of game now. It's just totally changed the face of it.
It is. A combination of the Danaher guys and Craig Jones.
Pretty much, yeah.
And the Eddie Bravo guys to some degree as well. They were doing it beforehand. They kind of really did get overtaken by a lot of the Danaher guys and even Craig Jones. Like really overtook those guys in terms of the leg lock stuff. Overtook the 10 Planet guys. But it has really become a massive part of...
it's nuts.
Yeah.
Like,
do you play much leg locks?
I do now, because you bloody have to, don't you?
Yeah. I know a lot of your guys are really into the leg lock stuff.
Yeah.
I find the smaller people do it a lot more than the bigger guys do.
Yep.
I train with Ed Ingemel, so I rate his leg locks amongst some of the best in the country.
Okay.
I just think it's so stupid, because now we got all of the big guys in my gym going for leg locks. It's embarrassing. Stop doing that. It's a small guy game, okay?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I like. I like someone who's good at them, who I know isn't going to hurt me.
Yeah.
Like someone I can trust. I'm not so crazy on doing them myself. I spend a while doing them to try to understand it, but I like someone trying to do it to me, so I can try to get out. Does that make sense? I enjoy the show. I'm actually going to train with Ross Nichols later tonight.
Oh, nice.
And who's a better man to be trying to get out of his leg locks than Ross. So I really like when someone you can trust, who's not just going to rip something or just hurt you.
Yeah, completely.
And I wouldn't say I like doing them as much as I like trying to get out of them or smashing past them.
Yeah. Wicked, man. Something you said a few times today already. You said like you've gone to so many different places to train at times, even though you've been teaching for, you've had a full-time academy. That's something that really interests me personally, because I'm someone who wants to one day own his own academy, and at the same time is kind of worried about that limiting my options in terms of going away and training in other places. Like, how do you balance those two things?
The way that like for the most part since the start, I always explained it to the students, or there was no real need to justify it, but how it's to better myself, to better them. Yeah. So like no one was ever mad, or no one was ever annoyed that I would leave for, at the start I would go for 2 or 3 months at a time. Wow. Yeah, usually over this I would say.
And you, who would
teach my classes for me? One of the times I went, Chris Bow is? He's another Irish really good black belt.
Man, what's he been doing recently?
He has an academy. He has kids. He has.
I haven't seen him fight in a while. He was like,
he had an injury. He had a bone spurs in his arm, and he had to like.
He was fucking good. Man.
Oh yeah, man! He took second at the Worlds to Luke Costello. Luke Costello was just his kryptonite.
Yeah,
he could beat everybody. He just couldn't beat Luke. Yeah, so he took second at Europeans, second at Worlds.
Wow,
but just could never beat.
He was legit. I haven't seen him around for a long time.
Yeah, so like right now he's more focused on his school and his family and stuff. But yeah, Chris a legend. So he helped me a little bit at the start, and then after that, like, man, you just let whoever's the most senior to the people who understand. And jiu-jitsu is so much fun. People will still go and roll. You
didn't find that people were leaving or quitting?
No, not in my experience. No, but man, one thing I'm very big on is communicating with the people, or trying to talk and explain. I would never just bolt and just be gone. You know what I mean? I always be like, look guys, I'm going to go for this amount of time. I know it's not going to be great for you guys, but just keep rolling, and when I come back I'm going to have
some cool stuff.
I'm going to have so much more to show you, not just techniques but training methods, things to do with the environment, how people are acting within how do we hold ourselves on the mat, how are the elite level athletes approaching this. So I always felt like I was investing back in the thing itself, and people have, to this day, I think I travel more than ever now, because we have we have seven or eight affiliates. I try to go to each one of those twice a year. That's 16 weekends.
Wow.
Then you plug in Europeans, Worlds, Pan Ams, Gi and No Gi, ADCC, EBIs, all these things. You're not left with very much. So I travel more than ever, but man, I think the students they really see and appreciate that I'm not just going off to do nothing.
You're not on holiday.
No,
it's an investment.
Yeah, and I always have so much energy when I come back, man. My favorite thing is to go away somewhere and train for a while, and then come back because I'm so refreshed. Like it's such a new outlook and so refreshed on everything that I think they can feel it too. You know, so. If I was in the same, if I was advising someone to do the same, I would always I'd tell Brian and I tell Ellis and I tell these guys, do it. No one is gonna care, and if they do care, they don't understand.
Sure,
you know what I mean. How could you? Oh, my coach is going off to train somewhere to better himself, to better us.
Yeah,
how annoying. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make. You should be annoyed if your coach is not trying to better themselves.
Sure.
You know, that's how I look at it. If your coach isn't continuously trying to get better in some way, even if they can't train, if they're not keeping up to date with matches, keeping up to date with what's going on, the latest things that are happening in jiu-jitsu, then, do you know what I mean? That's not an environment personally I would want to be in. I always like progression, trying to move forwards.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I don't think people care, man. People don't care. Why would you?
Interesting.
Why would you? I think it's mad if you would.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting to hear. So the other thing, like a big thing that I knew from you already, like you had a bad back injury.
Yeah, I had 2 herniated discs.
When was that?
When I got the MRI was 2012.
Okay, same year that I did mine.
Yeah, or was it? It might have been the start of 2013. It was around that around the similar type of time. It was definitely after the Kumite because there's no way I could have.
Okay, yeah. So how did you injure yourself?
What actually, in terms of now, back injuries are a very specific thing, similar to knee injuries insofar as there's one thing that breaks the camel's back, a straw that breaks the camel's back, but it's a repetitive thing over a long amount of time. Yeah, it's not necessarily just, I did this and then that's what hurt. Now, unless you have something traumatic, you know, like a huge, like a car crash, or you got spiked and you actually like broke bones in your actual back. But I think it's an accumulative thing over time. All the years playing rugby, a lot of imbalances from lifting weights incorrectly and stupidly when I was younger. But 2012 was the first time I was literally just drilling. I was just doing drills with
you felt something go?
Man, I felt terrified for poor Marcus because I was drilling double leg takedowns. I shot one and then I just couldn't get back up off the ground. There's a very specific feeling that happened where I was like, I have no idea what just happened, but I literally can't get up. And I was on the ground, I'd say for close to an hour. Marcus just not knowing what the hell was going on. Like I was in severe pain, man. I couldn't move, basically. It took me about an hour to get up, to try to hobble, to go to the hospital to get looked at. That's when I got the MRI. So yeah, that was around 12, 13. So what actually like did it was just shooting an innocuous takedown.
Really was straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Or your back in this case.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So then I would have got the MRI. They told me, you've really badly herniated discs, you've some degeneration, don't do sports again, don't, you know, just negativity essentially, conservative doctor approach, you know. Like I understand the way they have to go about it, but yeah, man, it made me, it was probably one of the scariest times of my life because it was right in the peak of my jiu-jitsu, like, the most I was into competing and everything about it, and to be told that not only are you not going to be able to compete, but you're not going to be able to do jiu-jitsu, end of story, was just I think that's what drove me so much to try to find solutions or to try to find a way around it.
So what was your first attempt to find a solution to that?
I had heard so luckily that Sebastian Broch had the exact same thing. Okay. I don't know how I knew that. Yeah. I can't remember why I knew that he had herniated discs. Yeah. And I got in touch with him and I was like, man, I know you've had this injury. I had the same thing. Like, what did you do or whatever? And that was exactly around the time when he had started yoga for BJJ. It was like literally the exact same time. So it was very crude. He had a few very basic videos. But bro, I'd never even heard of mobility, like anything to do with, I just knew lifting weights. I knew lifting weights, but in terms of any sort of way to move your spine or your joints or any sort of mobilizing, I'm not too keen on. I think yoga is amazing, but like yoga is just a form of mobility. It's just a form of stretching and moving in ways that are good for you, right? Yeah. So like I wouldn't be very big on any of the more traditional things to do with yoga, or the more like, I don't know if you understand what I mean, the and all this type of thing. I wouldn't be too into that, but I definitely believe you have to stretch your body in the opposite direction to the way that you always compress it.
Yeah.
So in jiu-jitsu, we're getting folded all the time, knees to our chest, folded, squash, bent in half.
Yeah.
You need to stretch your hip flexors the opposite way. And I think anyone in the world needs to do that in general, pretty much. So anyway, met Sebastian. He showed me yoga for BJJ. I'd never done any mobility or anything. So
were you inflexible?
Man, I couldn't. So do you know what a cat-cow is? Do you know what that is? So you're on all fours, you arch your spine, and you round your spine.
Yeah.
The most basic thing. One of the first videos was like him trying to show you how to do that, and man, I couldn't tilt my pelvis. I couldn't I was so locked up and so tight because I'd never heard of. It just never even came into my mind that this was something you should be doing, and it was so nuts how easy it was for him to do it, and how I couldn't even. It's like all he's doing is moving his back, and I can't. Like I'm literally like boggled. So yeah, it started from a very, very, very basic place, and then just progressed to that. I think how crazy crap I was at it made me competitive with it. I was like, how can I not just do this basic movement? You know what I mean? What's that? So started with that. Then I started to learn more about just in general how your body works and stuff like that. And yeah, that kind of was.
But you're very flexible now.
Yeah, I feel like I wasn't in my legs. I was never very inflexible in terms of jiu-jitsu.
So like I've got very flexible hips, but really inflexible hamstrings.
I'm the other way around. I'm very tight in my hips, but very, very flexible in my hamstrings. And that actually a lot of the time is superior for jiu-jitsu because if you have tight hip flexors, your knees pull to your chest, which is what you want. And if you've loose hamstrings, it allows your legs to get pushed to the floor to get stacked. So for some reason, I just have loose hamstrings, tighter hips. So
I have the opposite.
And I wouldn't say that a misnomer, I think, with jiu-jitsu, or sorry, with yoga and stuff like that, is that you're going to get more flexible. I don't think if you jiu-jitsu a lot, you won't get more flexible. I think it's pretty damn hard to actually improve your flexibility because you're constantly in flux of tightening from jiu-jitsu, releasing from doing mobility, tightening, releasing. I think the only way you can make big gains is you stop doing jiu-jitsu.
Wow.
Yeah, I did that. That's just my own.
Is that what you did?
For the first 4 or 5 months, that was all that I did was just do.
You didn't roll?
I had no sparring, no.
Wow.
No, I couldn't have. I was so scared,
Your back was so fucked.
I was so scared. Not only was it so painful, but I was so afraid of doing anything that could have done. The pain is like nothing I ever felt before. So I just
I trained suboptimally for
what happened to you? Sorry.
Years.
You had herniated discs or you had...
I have a pars fracture. So I have like a crack in my vertebrae.
Oh, wow.
And herniation above and below and degeneration all the way down.
Okay.
I had the same thing. Like I fucked my back up, and I had to take like a good month off. But I basically didn't stop training, and it just meant that my back was fucked all the time. Okay. Like it was bad, man, for a while. Like I really couldn't do anything. I'd have flare ups where for a couple of weeks I couldn't roll, and then I'd roll for a little bit, but you just see me. The most common sight on the mat at Mill Hill was me hunched over holding my back, because it was just hurting, just like constantly hurting whenever I rolled. Like I'd roll, I'd do a round, like, oh fuck, it fucking hurts, and then it's another few days off, and I did that for years, and then it started to improve a little bit, because there was times where I couldn't walk for more than 5 minutes, couldn't stand up for more than 5 minutes. This went on for years. And actually my back is the stuff that actually really started helping was I started lifting more.
Okay.
Like I was already lifting the whole way through. Like I injured my back doing bent over rows. After I injured it, basically the hip hinge kills me. So any deep
still now?
No, there's still stuff that I won't do.
Okay.
And I can feel my back, but it's so much better. So like I carried on lifting, but couldn't deadlift and couldn't do bent over rows. Basically couldn't pick anything off the floor. Like if you threw 21 Ps on the floor and told me to pick them up, I'd be in agony.
Okay.
It was like that. Or like doing, leaning over or standing up, doing one thing for a repeated amount of time. So before that point, I was doing a lot of conditioning. After that point, I couldn't do the repetitions anymore.
Okay.
So then I just started lifting heavier. Like I could do pull-ups, I could bench, and I could squat. I could like squat 200 kilos. My back was fine, but if I tried to deadlift 50 kilos, I'd be in pain.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was mad. Like, or even just try and pick up some paper off the floor, I'd be in pain.
Yeah.
It was really, really weird. And like, I could still roll because I never really stopped. Like my injury almost worked around it. And it wasn't until about a year and a half, 2 years ago, when I started actually reintroducing deadlift-like exercises in, but just from a much higher range. So I started doing the stuff I was telling you about before we started recording, the Dinny Stone stuff, and like lockouts, rack pulls, like grip stuff, where I'm going quite heavy, but I'm hinging
partial movement,
but it's partial movement, and that made my back stronger. I also got a dog that I had to walk, so that forced me to walk more, and now I can walk for hours and actually be pretty much okay. So a combination of all those, like my back's now, so which is why I've started to be able to like start looking to do some wrestling stuff that I just could not do before, because even just being bent over in that position couldn't hold it for more than a few seconds.
No, I know that life.
But it's interesting because you kind of stretched your way out of it, and I like strengthened my way out of it.
And I feel like people ask me, as I'm sure they ask you all the time, what should you do? Because people get so helpless in these situations, you know, like you just don't know what to do. And I try to tell people that there's I can tell you what I did, but that doesn't mean it's going to work. It doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
It's not advice, it's stuff to think about.
Yeah, exactly.
So like what sort of stuff, like other stuff that you did? Do you have any tricks to negotiate that lower back pain?
Stretching your hip flexors for me is like the front of your hips in particular. The front hip flexor, trying to stretch that as much as you can, and not just so. Stretching is a vague term. At the same time that you're trying to stretch your front hip flexor, you need to be squeezing your glute and firing your glute, like actually squeezing your ass, squeezing your core, and then trying to stretch the front of your hip. That gives me, and most people will get relief in some way from that, because everyone sits down all day. If you do jiu-jitsu, you're even more crushed up all day. That will just give you relief, end of story, from something. Like there's no way it's going to feel bad after stretching your hip flexors. So that's the most cure-all remedy I could say to anybody, is learn to stretch the front of your hip flexors properly, and then everything else is circumstantial to do with you, your height, your weight,
it's true. You got to find a way of, you know,
man, everything's different. And then there's a certain element too where you could just be literally weak, like strength training can absolutely benefit you. Now you have to know what you're doing and know how to do it.
You were saying like you injured your back from doing weights where you didn't really know what I was doing. Like I did the same when I started lifting. I was deadlifting and I was trying to max out, and I was going too heavy, and my back was rounded. It sounds so ridiculous now. I used to get, I call it like deadlift back, where my back would be fucked afterwards. But I just thought that's what your back feels like after you do deadlift, you know?
And that's one of the
your back shouldn't feel like that.
And that's one of the hardest things, man, too, with any of these types of situations, or pain in general. It's how people perceive it, or how people explain things. Because your back, if you do deadlifts, your back can have DOMs. Do you know what I mean? Can have that type of pain. But where's the difference between, how do you know what's actual pain and what's actual just you're
fucking your disc up?
Exactly. It's like so hard to know. A very funny thing about that is, do you know Kane Sharrock? Do you know who that is?
No.
He's a wrestler from Wales. He came second at the Commonwealth Games. So awesome. He works with Bryn. He's super.
I do.
Amazing guy. But he basically, after years and years of wrestling now, like he has chronic arthritis, and he has like all sorts of surgeries and stuff, and especially with the arthritis in particular.
Where does he have the arthritis? Do you know?
I think he has in his knees and his shoulders and a bunch of other. So anyway, he, when I was talking to him about it and he got diagnosed, they were like, "How did you, like, this must just be so painful? Is this not?" And he was just like, I thought that's just what it was to be alive. Do you know what I mean? Like he literally I mean, takes a lot of mental toughness, but do you know what I mean? Different people perceive different things different ways. And like he just, same with myself or yourself. Oh, it's just deadlift back, or I'm just a bit stiff. But to someone else, they would be an excruciating.
They would be walking,
I think part of it, Dan, is if you have a passion or you have something that it gives you a reason to want to fix it. You know, we both had reasons. Kane had reasons to continue going. The thought for me of not doing what I love to do is so powerful that, you know what I mean, you would push yourself through anything to be able to try to do it, you know. Now luckily we're more sensible now and we can do it better, but that's a huge thing, man, is having something that gives you a reason to come back for
absolutely
it, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. So are you still doing the yoga now?
Yeah, I do. Like when I say I do yoga, I'm not saying namaste and doing,
but you're still doing.
I know how to do vinyasa yoga. I know how to do sun salutations. I think that's a good thing to learn. It's both the variations of the sun salutation. Every single day, I have to do some sort of stretching, mobility, yoga, whatever you want to call it. I have to do it for at least 30 minutes to an hour. if I want to have a good training. Like if we're training at 12.
Before you do it for an hour before?
If we're going to train at 12 o'clock, I'm going to be there at 11 o'clock. And I feel different on different days. Depends on what we've done. I'm going to stretch my shoulders out. I'm going to activate my core, try to activate my glutes, stretch my hips, and just get into. You have to get used to getting a feeling for your body and what feels tight, what doesn't feel tight, how to move different things. I'm having this discussion a lot with Ffion at the moment because she's in an environment now where she's training full time in such an intense way, and she's very young and she's not very aware, or she is aware, but she doesn't do as much mobility, shall we say, as she should, and she's starting to get a few injuries and start to get a little bit hurt. And the solution is you got to do something about it. You can't just ignore it. So you have to find some sort of pleasure in doing these things if you want to have longevity.
That's the thing.
Have longevity.
You got to enjoy it.
Yeah. So, and I do enjoy it, man. I do.
Did you enjoy it when you started?
No, but I enjoyed that it let me train.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I didn't enjoy it as much, the actual thing, but I liked that afterwards I'm going to feel nice and then I can train. And then eventually it turned into, actually, I find this quite relaxing and I enjoy not having to think about something for an hour and do it. So, like, I think for longevity, man, you have to find something that's going to work for you. And for me, it's the balance of the movements. From jiu-jitsu. Yeah, because every sport has repetitive motion. Of course, it doesn't matter what it is. You get overly repetitive in some way. Every joint, everything in your body goes two directions. If you continuously force it one way, eventually something is going to give, and it doesn't matter what it is. So you have to learn what way you're moving constantly, and then try to at least mitigate it a bit the other way, you know, and then strengthen whatever's weak, etc. But like, I hesitate to call myself, because people attach all sorts of things to yoga and this type of thing, and I think yoga's amazing, man. Okay, like it's so good, but it's some people are the type of person who'll get into doing yoga. Yeah. And some people are the type of person who prefer to just call it mobility. Sure. And some people hate both of those things, and they just, you know what I mean. You just gotta you gotta find something that suits the type of person that you are. And yoga too is so mad because it's like jiu-jitsu in the way that if you go to a yoga class, that's not representative of the art. Sure. So it's like if you go to a shitty jiu-jitsu place, go somewhere else. Yeah. Like I tell people that all the time when they want to start is don't just go somewhere. It's about the atmosphere, the people, who you vibe with. It actually is irrelevant for the most part whether they're actually that good or not. Yeah, 100%. You know what I mean? It doesn't even matter. It's like if you have a great instructor and it's a shit vibe and you don't like it there, you're better off going to a shit instructor where you have fun. Exactly. Yeah. No, and it sounds weird, but it's true. So yoga is the exact same thing. I prefer practicing by myself, but I've gone to some classes and within 10 seconds I'm like, fuck this guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is this person saying? Yeah. You know, this is so annoying. Yeah. And then sometimes I go somewhere like, oh, this is nice. I like it. But it's the exact same with jiu-jitsu. You know, you can't just... So I always tell someone whenever they're telling, what gym should I go to in the area? Like, can you recommend someone? Look, I recommend sit down with a map and locate all of the gyms within a reasonable distance. Like what's the furthest that you're going to travel? The first you travel is 20 minutes. Okay. Find all of the gyms within a 20-minute radius and go to all of them. Dead right. Even if you go to the first one and you love it, go to all of them. Yeah. And you'll know which one's yours. And the people that like training with me the most are people that trained in other places first, because they can appreciate the difference in the environment. Yeah. So like I very rarely, we do a lot on the internet, but very rarely I take a phone call. And when I do, I tell people that exact same thing. Yeah. Don't just go to our gym. Go to a bunch of other places. Like I'm telling you, like I'm pretty confident you're gonna like ours, but so you have a better perspective. I love this. Like, I want you to go to a shit gym, so when you come here, you appreciate it. Yeah. Don't just come here because you won't know how good you got it. But it's true. It does give you. It gives you such a better. Same way when I went to Saulo's, I thought it was amazing because I had come from a lesser, shall we say, environment. It was amazing to me to go there. I was like, damn, this is so much better or whatever. And then from that, I had another perspective to go to another place and be like, oh, I like this better than what I liked over there, or I don't like this compared to over there. And then you start to put together what you like. You know? Sure. And, you touched on it briefly, you said you do yoga. Do you do any strength and conditioning stuff? Yeah, I lift weights 3 times a week. What sort of stuff? I go very much by, like, I've done so many programs down in the past, like your classic splits and your push, pull, all these different types of ways. What I do now is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I always do either a squat, a bench, or a deadlift as the main lift. I do some single leg accessory exercises, And then sometimes I just do whatever it's a bit fun to do at the time. I go between doing programming and not doing programming. Sometimes I get an urge to be strict and have programming.
Yeah.
And sometimes all I want to do is just go and do whatever the fuck I want. You know, I've been lifting
when
weights
you've been lifting for as long as you have and I have as well, you kind of know your body enough that you can
exactly. Yeah. And I also find too, now I don't get much benefit myself from maxing or from, you know, like my nervous system, man, just gets too shredded, and then I can't focus on the thing I like the most is jiu-jitsu training. So anything that takes away from that, my energy for that, I find it's hard. I don't think I'll benefit from being any stronger than I okay, sorry, you probably could, but I'm not willing to put in the time.
You're probably about as strong as you can get for a 77 kilo
and
guy.
I've never felt overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I never felt I lost a match because someone was stronger. You know? So like, I've been lifting for so long that I know, you do a bench, you do a deadlift, you do a squat, you do some accessory movements close to that. And I just try nowadays, for me, the biggest thing is not burning myself out.
Sure.
If I'm tired on a day, man, I used to be so insecure and so guilty about
you didn't train,
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like, or if I went to the gym, it's like, last day I did this much, so I have to do a little bit more. And then, like, eventually that just burned me out anyway. So now if I feel tired, I do light. If I feel like I have energy, I'll try to go heavier. I try to do it as best I can and do the best form that I can do, and that's pretty much it. Like 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and just to keep it. I think you have to.
That's what I do as well.
Yeah, you have to for longevity. Like, you know what I mean? If you don't use it's
and it's nice to be strong.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, and people say that in jiu-jitsu all the time, but people hate Ffion actually in particular. She hates if someone calls her strong, but it's like, you are strong.
Yeah.
And that's impressive.
Yeah.
You had to get strong.
But people use strong as an insult. Because they're like, if you're strong, you're shit. Like, fuck you.
I think if someone says to her, "Oh, you're strong," it's like they can't perceive. They don't understand that they're perceiving the technique as
she is strong though.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like it's even worse because she knows how to pin you properly.
Yeah.
And she is.
But like,
strong.
she feels strong because she's doing it right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like someone who'll say that to her, "Oh, you're so strong," is definitely someone who probably doesn't understand.
Yeah.
But I always say, don't take offense to it. It's like,
chill out, Ffion. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You are strong and it's amazing.
You are a champion.
Hell yeah.
Just calm down. If someone calls you strong, just fucking take it.
Yeah, be like, I lift weights, I'm fucking strong.
I think I might prefer it if someone, after I roll with someone, if they say I'm really strong. I think I prefer it than if they say I'm really good.
Yeah, damn right I am, man. Yeah, thank you.
That's cool, man. So anyway, you'll find Polaris next weekend.
Yes.
That'll be your second or third time.
Yep. I did the first ever Polaris match ever.
Did you?
Against Max Campos.
That's a pretty cool thing to say.
Max Campos in Cardiff.
Yeah.
It was the first match of that card. Really boring match. It was in the gi. This is the first time I've gotten to do no gi. The 2 other times I did gi.
Really?
I fought Max Campos on the first one, and then Jonathan Satava from Marcelo's on
I was there. That was in Pool.
One. Exactly, yeah. That was the best Polaris, I think. That was
Polaris.
Yeah. So that was my favorite one so far.
And Shields, AJ.
AJ, yeah. And Eddie Cummings and Tanquinho as well.
Yeah.
So that was sick. So this is my third one. First time I've done no gi, which is cool because
you prefer that.
It's just the nature of that type of show is it's supposed to be entertaining. People are going to watch it. So like gi jiu-jitsu is not that entertaining to watch. You know?
Correct.
Like
there are some really good matches.
Bro, I love it more than anyone. This is my job. You know what I mean? But like it's no gi just categorically is more exciting.
Yeah.
So that makes me more stoked about it because there's more potential for things to happen, less potential to get stuck. I also like the first 2 times that I did it, it was just either you tap the guy or it was a draw.
Yeah,
and that decisions. For both of my matches, that messed up the dynamic because against Satava, I got my guard pass very quickly. And he
is a fucking monster,
man.
Yeah.
And I had no incentive to get out because I'm like, okay, he's passed
just
my guard.
Yeah.
If we go the whole distance, it's a draw.
Yeah.
I'd rather draw than fucking get tapped.
Yeah.
Whereas if he passed my guard and there's a decision, I have to get out and do something to sway the decision. So I like much more now that there's the decisions, and I also like that it's no gi. So yeah, next Friday, me and Mike Perez, and then Ffion is on the same card against Jazari for the title.
Yeah.
Another training partner of mine, Tom Halpin, he's from Ireland as well. He's on there too.
Against
Ethan Crenlinson.
Yeah,
so that is a good match.
They're both leg lockers.
They both like submissions in general. Yeah. Good Kimura traps, good triangles, good leg locks. So that's going to be really exciting too. The whole thing is so cool, man.
It should be a really good card.
Oh, man, yeah.
So how do you see your match with Mike going? I don't know if... this will go out before Polaris.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do I see it going?
Yeah.
man, I have no doubt that it'll be exciting anyway.
Yeah.
Both, like, the pair of us, what I like most about him is I've never seen him in a match that wasn't at least entertaining.
Yeah.
Even if there wasn't, the jiu-jitsu itself might not have been, he's such a character.
Yeah.
He just has good personality, good attitude and everything. So just that alone, and his style is very countery, flowy, kind of random kind of things. You know, it's hard to pin down exactly his game in inverted commas, but I just feel like it's just going to be good to watch no matter what, man, because I'm at a point in my career too where, of course, I want to win. You don't compete unless you're trying to win, but I care way less about the outcome than I do about the enjoyment of the moment. You know, so it's going to be so sick. I fought a Copa Podio a couple of weeks ago in Brazil, and I was so present, man. Like, even though I didn't win any of the matches, but I enjoyed it so much because the whole time I was so in the moment. It felt like I was just rolling in the gym. I was like, this is sick. I'm in Copa Podio on the mat rolling. Do you know what I mean? And like, this is all happening, and I feel very, very calm in myself now. So I think he's a very calm competitor too. So I think the combination of the two, it'll definitely be my most exciting Polaris match so far. And I'm going to guarantee that, because if it's boring, I'm going to try to do something that'll make it not boring. So no, I'm just looking to have some seriously good fun, man. Very cool, man. I his style, I like that. I like people that will make, especially for a show like that. That's what it's all about. It's perfect. That's what it's all about. So yeah, I'm stoked about the whole thing.
And Fion's fighting Ghazari.
Yes.
How do you think that's going to go down?
Well,
I'm
obviously biased.
It's quite a funny one because I spoke to Ffion after she qualified for this, because they kind of they do it a bit of a weird way. I keep on saying that. Like, I don't talk shit on Polaris, but there's stuff that I believe. Loads of stuff that they do really well, and loads of stuff that I don't agree with so much. I think if you're going to run a tournament, a 4-person tournament, do it in one day. Yeah, I just think because for example, the welterweight tournament, it was it got ridiculous. The finals was no one was in it. So it was Taza beat Lachlan.
Yeah,
Ross beat Nathan Orchard, and then the final was
Lachlan and Munchie.
Lachlan and Munch, yeah.
So it was like Lachlan lost his match, and then
Munch
Taza got injured,
and
then Ross won his match. Ross got injured, and then it was all over the place. So now the champion is a guy who didn't even fight in Polaris before that.
Exactly.
Not that there's any man, Munch is amazing, but it's just funny that suddenly your champion is not only somebody who wasn't in the tournament, but hadn't even fought in the promotion.
100%. So I think that you do it in one day, and I think the same thing with Ghazari, which was I think that she didn't want to fight Ffion.
No, she didn't.
But when Ffion qualified, she was still a brown belt.
Yep.
She had won a lot of stuff at brown belt.
Yeah.
And you could understand why Ghazari thought that actually there's not a lot in it for her.
Yeah.
Since then, she's got a black belt.
Yeah.
She's become the best in the world.
Yeah.
No-gi black belt world champion.
Yeah.
And won Europeans at black belt in the gi.
Yep.
And now you're like, okay, she's on that level now. So I think Ghazari finally
I thought that was funny personally. Yeah. I thought that was funny. It's like, oh, now you want to do it.
So she like Ffion earned her place, and then earned it in her opponent's eyes
exactly,
as well.
Yeah. Oh, it wouldn't have happened if Ffion didn't have the success she did.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have happened.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
And I think a lot of people at the top end, especially the people who are already black belt world champions like that, are very protective of their prestige.
Yes.
And to lose to someone, and I think in this day and age, man, it's getting more and more ridiculous because the level of jiu-jitsu is so high. A purple belt who can medal at a major can beat a black belt. You
100%.
know what I mean? Like, it's just the belts from purple and up at the elite level.
It doesn't even matter.
Get rid of it. Yeah. So like, for Ghazari to not recognize that this, you know what I mean?
I think it just looks bad.
Yeah.
It just looks bad. If someone's got a brown belt and you're a black belt,
I agree. Yeah.
It's everything to lose and nothing to gain.
Yeah, and it makes an annoying mental dynamic because categorically, okay, no gi or not, but categorically,
you still know you're still a brown belt.
You're wearing something that's representative of you're supposed to be a certain level. So I think Ffion is going to win. I think that Ffion, should we get to our positions, she should be able to submit her, and I think it will be pretty emphatic. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, man, she's incredible person.
This is what I was going to say. Like, what makes Ffion so special? Like, what is it? Obviously, she's incredible. Why?
It's everything. It's her whole life culminating together. So she's, like, you had her on here. I don't need to tell her whole story, but she started judo when she was so young. Her parents were so supportive of it in a way that wasn't pushy and wasn't like, do you know what I mean, making her dislike it. Her experiences training, you know, she got to train with the Welsh team and everything. That she got to compete. Competing is just natural to her. She's done it her whole life without even thinking about it. So it's like what she knows without even knowing it. That combined with her physical attributes, she's an incredible athlete. Her mental attributes, man. I've never seen an athlete in the room as determined or as who holds themselves to such a ridiculous standard. She's so hard on herself in the best way possible. Like, she's so hard on herself. She expects so much from herself day to day, even in situations where it's like unrealistic to expect that much from herself. You know, it's everything to do with her whole life, the mentality she has, the physicality she has, just it's complete package. I've never seen, or I've never got to deal with someone who's just has all of those things off the bat. You know, she's incredible. So, and she's getting better and better and better. And she's
24,
23. I think she just maybe is 24 now.
Crazy,
but like,
crazy.
So much time ahead of her. Like, and she has, you know, she has the best environment now too. You know, she was living in Cardiff where the training was good enough to a certain point, but eventually she needed a more stimulating environment, more higher belts to train with. And just the coincidence of everything, the fact that I knew Bryn, the fact that all of my best students are smaller guys, the fact that Dublin is right beside where Cardiff is, the fact that I can organise somewhere for her to stay, the fact that she's allowed to stay, that it's in the EU and she can actually, you know what I mean, that we can, like, everything about it. It's just a complete outlier. It's a complete outliir situation, like everything to do with it. But man, she deserves everything. You know, she works so hard. Dan, I can't tell you how hard that girl fucking trains. She's an absolute beast. So Jazari's obviously amazing. Don't get me wrong, but like, man, I just don't know.
Man, you made me excited for Polaris.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be amazing. Man.
You made me excited for Polaris.
And I think too, Ffion deserves especially if she wins, but regardless, she deserves to get invited to ADCC, man. You know, like, she did the trials.
She qualified.
So they only do one trials for the girls because there's only 8 girls, right? So there's 4 invites, 4 qualifiers. For the guys, it's 16, 8 and 8. So for the girls, there's only one trial every 2 years. This year, the trial is the day after the Abu Dhabi World Pro. So Abu Dhabi World Pro is Friday.
Is it the second European trials?
Yeah, exactly. So second European trials is
it's the 27th of April.
Yeah, World Pro is 24th and 20. No, see, this is what I'm about to.
World Pro.
This is what I'm about to bring up. I got to go there with Ffion because that's her
coach.
That's her best chance of making money for her living. Do you know what I mean? To live for the whole year. So like,
fuck, man, that's pretty cool of you, know.
What?
That you're not going to ADCC trials because you're going to be there to coach.
Man, I get so much enjoyment out of.
Man, you can say what you like. That's some honourable shit right there.
Okay, well, I just, man, it feels like me. Do you know, when it's them, it feels like me. Nowadays, especially, I scream more or I celebrate more for them. When I win myself now, I'm just like,
I know what you mean.
It's cool, but man, to see, because man, I've seen them for so many years. You know, like any of my students who are like her, Marcus and Sam, and all these other guys that have been training for that amount of time. You've seen them go from, you know, white belt, blue belt, purple belt, and now to be at the elite level, and how much time, investment, and stuff they've put into it. It's like, what is it? It's very selfish of me at this point to want to try to do something just for my own gain. You know, it's like, I have all these people, all these other people around me, and I have so much more experience that can help them versus if I just go and do my own thing. At least that's the way I feel about it now. You know,
I get that. At the same time, I don't think you should be so hard on yourself. I think that you're still allowed to do your little bit for yourself.
And I do.
As well.
I do what I just think of it as, I would rather.
That's cool, man.
I feel like she and the other guys can go so much further than I could ever go, or especially at this point.
Yeah.
And the advantage I have, or the advantage they have, is that I have more experience.
Yeah.
I've been around for so much longer. Like I said at the start of the conversation, there's a lot of things I can't do that I understand. You know, like, I can't do it myself, but I understand how it works and I understand how it should be done. And I'm very grateful to have people like her or anyone else who listens to me and will actually apply that. So I don't know, like, if it works out that somehow we can get some sort of crazy flights, like, I think she would be able to, if it worked out,
fight Grand Slam and then go win ADCC.
I feel like she could do that. She could do that too. She could do it too. She's young enough. She has the enthusiasm and the energy and the determination. I don't know how it works in terms of when she would fight on the Friday in Abu Dhabi to getting to Poland.
Is it in Abu Dhabi?
So the World Pro is in fucking Abu Dhabi, and then on that's Friday. Then the Saturday is the trials in Poland. So like you somehow have to get there.
Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but man, it's such an annoying choice because it's a choice between your money for the year, your salary, and just getting in.
Nah, I didn't realize it was the Abu Dhabi Grand.
It's the actual Abu Dhabi World Pro. So it's a really weak spot. But man, the way I see it,
she should be invited.
I believe
if she beats Ghazari,
yeah,
she should 100% be invited for ADCC.
Man,
she's a world champion on 58 or what is it? Rooster feather.
It was featherweight.
It's around about 60, isn't it?
For Nogi, I think it's 58 kilos. Yeah,
she should be there.
But yeah, it makes
100%.
It makes no sense not to. I think that the only two people she's ever lost to in no-gi is Bia at the last ADCC. To like, oh, you lost to the fucking goat. You know what I mean? In your first ever one.
She won the division.
Bia. Oh yeah. So she lost to Bia and she lost to Talida Alan-Carr before. But I want to say that those two matches are probably close to the only no-gi matches she's ever actually lost.
Yeah.
Like ever.
Yeah.
In like her whole time.
Yeah.
So like she's lost 2 no-gi matches.
And she's improving.
She's a black belt.
Rate,
she's a black belt no-gi world champion already. She's, you know what I mean? She's on such a roll. If she beats Jazari, you got like, and the weird thing with ADCC invites is it seems like the more you talk about it or ask for it, the less you get it. So it's like weird situation. It's like, I want to be putting it out there that she should be invited, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, do they just want to get you in without, do you understand what I mean? Like, it's like, if you seem like you want to go, they're like, fuck you, you're not going.
Yeah.
Whereas if you seem like you don't, then
you got to find the right person.
Yeah. So
instead, it's one of those things. Instead of having 1,000 of your teammates send them a message, you just got to find one guy. Yeah. Who's going to go talk to one guy who makes a difference.
Yeah,
you know,
right? Actually, yeah.
So yeah, just start talking to people.
To the right people.
Start talking to the right people. That's it. But
now she deserves it, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
No, you absolutely can't disagree with that. You know, if she beats Ghazari, then that goes to cement herself as she is one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
And at ADCC, you should be there.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. So what's next for you? You're competing at Polaris, and then
I'm gonna do the Pan Ams the week after that.
Okay.
So I still have points like nowadays.
That's gi Pan Ams?
Yeah, gi. So you need points now to do
Pan Ams
for every IBJJF major.
Really?
So at black belt.
Masters
just black belt adult. Yeah. So if you want to do black belt adult,
you still doing adult?
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't done a masters tournament yet.
You're eligible though.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I could do masters 1, but
do you think there's a point where you'll start doing that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
When do you think that point will be? Do you think like, do you know what?
Yeah, I don't know.
That division looks real tough. I feel like
I'll tell you what.
Masters 1 divisions don't look too easy these days. To be honest with you.
But I think the main point when it'll happen is at some sort of tournament where we want team points.
Okay.
And it'll make more sense for me to do the masters than to do the adult. I definitely still want to do adult because I have a few guys that I will have coached from white to black belt, and I want to compete in the adult division with them. You know what I mean? Just
try and close out the division.
If we can do the same weight, yeah. If not, man, to be fighting at the same time as them and be there as black belts with them, like that's something I want to do.
I thought it was going to be so I can get to the final and whoop their ass. Let them know that I'm still the boss around here.
Yeah. So you need the points to do the majors, and I still have points for. I did the Europeans, and now I have points for the Pans. I won't do the Worlds, the IBJJF Worlds. I just want to coach, coach and be there for the guys.
But you'll be there.
Oh yeah, man. Jeez, I dream all the time. I have a joke with Ffion. You know they give you that coach's visor.
Yeah.
It's like a bib that you like when you sit on the side. You get to wear that. It's like I want that shit.
Have you not had that yet?
Well, I got to sit beside the mat for Euros and for Nogi Worlds. They didn't give you it. They didn't give you it. I was like, what is this?
You got to talk to the right person.
Exactly. Yeah. So
give me that visor.
See me in the pyramid in June wearing the visor, sitting there.
You think she got to take the black belt Mundial's gold?
Man, I think she can do anything that she wants to do.
Damn.
You know, whether I try to talk to her and work with her in terms of 5 years, you know, like where do we want to be in 5 years from now? Not year to year, oh, let's try to do this. Shit, it didn't work. Try to do it again. Shit, it didn't work. Where do we want to be in 5 years? And in 5 years, she wants to be a black belt world champion.
Yeah.
So if we look at it like that, give her 5 years.
She'll be a black belt world champion.
Yeah. Do I believe she can do it this year? Yes.
Yeah.
You never. Competition is a mad thing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I want to look at it as a building phase. So if we go this year and we win, okay, now let's shift the goal. We can win multiple times. Okay, if we don't win this year, what went wrong? Let's improve it, do it next year, and then try to constantly build off of that. But do I think she can win this year? Absolutely, man.
Wow.
Like, I mean, she's proven that she's able to. You know? So I fully believe I believe she could win the Euros, the Pans, and then win the Worlds, like all in this 1 year. And if it doesn't, we just have more feedback to work on, whatever. I don't think any of the other girls have the same network like Ffion does around her. So most of the other girls, I feel, are as good as they are, and they're not getting better.
Sure.
The girls that are getting better are all of the lower belts. The lower belts are the most dangerous. The purples, the browns. There's probably purple and brown belts who are probably tougher or as tough for Ffion to fight as some of the black belts.
Wow.
So I think, with enough time and enough efforts at it, I don't see how she can't do it, man. Do you know what I mean? She's just special, But you've talked to her, you've seen what she's capable
Absolutely,
of.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, it's Polaris should just have people's coaches talking about their athletes as a promo. When you were talking about Ffion earlier, I was like, damn, I really want to watch Polaris now. I was going to watch it anyway, but I think that's a good way to do it.
Well, often too, the coach can be more genuinely, can express more genuine.
You get excited.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You want to...
And
imagine if Ffion was sitting here saying that. Like, I am the hardest worker. I am the greatest. I will be the best of all time.
I believe she thinks those things in her head. She just isn't.
No one's going to say that because they're not a douchebag. Well, some people say that.
Yeah. But she's just not. Yeah, she's not. I'm at a point in my life, and I'm sure you are too, where you're proud of yourself. You've done enough things. You have enough experience to know that I know some shit. You know what I mean? Like that. Like I'm proud of myself, and I don't mind. I know the line between confidence and arrogance. I know what I know, and I know what I don't know. And if I know something, I'll fucking tell you. So she's still in a phase where she knows and is capable of so much more than she's able to say. She'll still get awkward, man. When we were filming the Polaris promo, it's like, okay, Darragh, do your thing. Hi, I'm Darragh O'Conaill. I'm fighting on Polaris. Okay, Tom, do your thing. Hi, I'm Tom Halpin. I'm fighting on Polaris. Ffion, no, I can't do it. You know what I mean? It's like, you're going to go out there and crush someone.
Yeah, but that's just how she is.
I know, but it's funny. That's exactly
it. Is funny,
She will eventually be more confident like that, and will eventually be...
I hope not, because she's fucking funny, man.
Yeah, I mean, the way she
the awkwardness is funny.
Yeah, it's true.
I think she should keep that up. That's cool, man. So, yeah, because you've competed on you've done a lot of different rule sets and styles and gear.
I've done everything there is to do. The only thing I haven't gotten into is the ADCC. I got the finals of the trials. I lost to Oliver Taza. I've competed in Cove Podio, EBI, Polaris, ACB, the IBJJF. Every IBJJF major is a black belt.
Wow. What's your favorite? What's been your favorite ever tournament?
Like favorite thing to do or favorite victory?
Favorite, like if you didn't do any of the things that you've done and you'd only done one thing, what would that be?
I won the Nogi Black Belt World World, that's getting extreme. I won Nogi Europeans Black Belt last year. That was my favorite win.
That was the one.
Yeah, for a few reasons. One,
well, it's Black Belt European champion.
Yeah. I mean, that's
the obvious reasons.
Yeah. So that was cool. It was a very interesting time as well because my father passed away from cancer, and my best friend who we started jiu-jitsu together, and he's one of our affiliates. His name is Chris Leddy. Shout out to Chris. He has his own school now too. His father, a couple days before the Nogi Euros, he passed away too from not the same type of cancer, but anyway, very resonating experience as you can imagine. And when I went to fight at the tournament, man, I don't know. It was the most magical, mad, euphoric, nuts thing where, it was like the last thing on my mind, but also, the one thing that my dad and, Chris's dad had supported us to do and encouraged us to do something like this. And it was just an amazing time. I had to go through so much hard shit, not even jiu-jitsu shit. I had to go through so much hard stuff that being at a tournament, I was like, this is nothing. Do you know what I mean? This is nothing. I was so just in the perfect zone. So for that reason, it was very good. And then it was also just so relieving and fulfilling to have a major black belt title. You know, like I was talking about before, for a long time I would have been very insecure or very, I don't know, I would just look down on myself or constantly think I hadn't done enough, or oh, I could do more. And when I won that, it was just a release.
Yeah,
it was like what you asked. If I never did anything ever again, that's the one right there, man. It just felt so fulfilling, man. Huge weight off my shoulders, and even though, and I say
it's like a save point in your jiu-jitsu career, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean,
no matter what else happens, I'm a European champion,
exactly,
at the highest level.
Exactly, and look, I'm well aware that if you have 4 majors in jiu-jitsu, the Europeans is the smallest. And then you go to no-gi, so that makes the European no-gi the smallest of the small. But I don't give a fuck. Yeah. I'm so proud of how much I had to do to get there, between my life, between all of my years of training and everything. Yeah. It's definitely, you know, obviously being a world champion and stuff like this is better. But I never had, when I started jiu-jitsu, man, I never had a goal of be a world champion. I didn't even fucking know the worlds existed. Somewhere along the way, I got engrossed in competing and trying to achieve that. But I never ever started off with, I'm going to be a world champion. I'm going to, you know, I believe now people can do that, and, you know, because they're aware of what's going on. But I never had that goal. So
you didn't even know that you could do world championships of purple.
Yeah. So I remember, actually, I remember so specifically after that first worlds, when I obviously lost my first match. I didn't even know the rules or anything, really. Lost my first match, and I was sitting in the stands, and I was just looking at the people who I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
I was like, I just want to look like that. Yeah. I just want to look like, I don't care if I don't win.
I belong here, yeah.
I just want to look like, I don't look like an idiot who who just found out the worlds exists 2 weeks ago. And to come from that point to winning, even if it's the smallest of the black belt majors, man, like,
it's still a black belt major.
Huge thing. And at the very least, I would like to have inspired the generation that's coming after me to do better than what I've done before. So at least I have something that's tricky enough to try to beat. If you're going to do better than what I did, you'll be fucking accomplished as fuck.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was just happy that I put something down like that the first Irish person to win a European title in the black belt, that'll do me. You know, if I never could do anything else again, the timing of everything, my age and everything too, you know, it wouldn't bother me at all if I never won anything major ever again.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that comes across like I might not have determination, or I might not have, you know, like a will to compete. Man, I love competing in jiu-jitsu. It's my favorite thing to do. But if you're talking about fulfillment, that moment just completely just fulfilled me entirely. I was just like, this is beautiful.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
It was cool, man.
You know, and you're talking about that, like, you are, if I'm not mistaken, the top grappler in Ireland. You know, you're kind of right there at the pinnacle of the sport in Ireland. You know, what does Irish Jiu-Jitsu look like at the moment? And more importantly, you know, from the perspective of someone at the top, where do you see it heading in the near future?
It's definitely getting better all the time. It's growing all the time. We had our first IBJJF tournament in Ireland last year, December. They did an IBJJF Dublin Open. So it's growing from that perspective. Now you have an IBJJF tournament there. It's still very MMA focused in Ireland. Like most, I would say, a lot of our competitive people in the grappling whatever world, they're training for MMA.
Yeah.
My gym is probably the only one for the most part that
doesn't have any.
That's not MMA focused. That all we do is jiu-jitsu. That all my job is to teach jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
That we have other people that work there who just do jiu-jitsu. You know, to have that type of environment. If you look at some other places in Europe, man, jiu-jitsu arrived so much sooner and so much more prepared. So in England, Norway, Sweden, all these places, black belts went there who were already black belts and already experienced and started showing everything.
Yeah.
So like you knock that on 10 or 15 years and it's just a different story to John Kavanagh himself.
Yeah.
So I remember hearing, there's a guy from Norway, Frontline Academy, Tada is the guy's name.
Yeah.
He went to Norway 15 years ago as a black belt.
Wow.
I haven't even been training jiu-jitsu for 15 years, right? So, do you know what I mean? For me and my academy to be at the forefront of the competitive scene, to think of that difference in time, like how much more experience and the knowledge filtering down through everybody, it's just such a different thing. So, we still have a long way to go, for sure, man. Like, we don't really have we don't have an Irish world champion in jiu-jitsu. We have a few European champions in the no-gi. There's still no gi European champion. There's still a not a champion in the gi.
Yeah, a European.
No, we don't have anybody who's in the adult division colored belts.
Okay.
I've had a few white belts that won, but we have no...
Any colored belt, blue and above?
Doesn't matter. No. John Kavanagh, 2007, the very first ever one ever.
Yeah.
Like
very different tournament.
Exactly, exactly. Totally different sport.
I'd love to know how many people were at that first Europeans.
Oh, I'd say it's very small.
Yeah.
Very small.
That's crazy, because now there's like 3,000 people.
In terms of the scene in general, like, with time, I think will be incredible force to reckon with. Irish people's mentality, man, is so suited to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like, everything to do with it, like, culturally, everything. There's so much involved in jiu-jitsu that is so, I don't know, it's just so ingrained in Irish people.
Well, there does seem like a culture in fighting in combat sports to
100%.
You know, like how it, because there's a lot of MMA fighters coming out. Obviously, we've got, but there is a lot of MMA fighters coming out of Ireland. Ireland's not a big place, you know. Like, what is that in the Irish people where they just like to have a rock? Or?
I'm glad that you asked, because I have a very interesting theory about this. Not
Let me
interesting.
hear it, man.
So, I believe that two things greatly impacted, you know, Irish culture and made Irish people the way they are. The two things would be the English invasion or English oppression, whatever way you want to put it, and the Catholic Church oppression. So both of those two things. One, the Catholic Church in particular, man, the nature of that in Ireland was so repressive. You were taught to repress all of your feelings, show no emotion, be stoic. If you're having a bad time, you don't say anything. If you're depressed, you don't say anything. If you're happy, don't show it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Show no emotion. Hide your feelings. You are not anything to be proud of. You should be doing more than what you're doing. You know, this type of mentality breeds stoicism in people. Yeah. And one of the best qualities you can have in martial arts is don't show your emotions. If it gets hard, don't give up. You know what I mean? That attitude or that type of thing, I think, presents itself so much in martial arts, and is so natural to Irish people. Pretend like you're grand. Like in Ireland, everyone says everything's grand. You could come in freezing cold. Oh, do you want a warm blanket? No, I'm grand. Do you know what I mean? You could have not eaten for fucking 10 days. Do you want a bit of food? No, sure, I'm grand. You know, don't worry about me. I'm fine. So like this type of thing, that repression combined with, man, we had to fight to get people out of our country who are controlling us. Do you know what I mean? That's a huge thing to have people. I think Eastern Europeans have a very similar way about them too. If your country has been taken over and then been freed again, the people are very suspicious and very wary of any sort of outsiders or anything like this. And that's also why the development of jiu-jitsu, I believe, has been a little bit slower, because in all these other countries, Brazilians were, like we were talking about, can be a bit brash or a bit arrogant is too strong of a word. They're very outgoing and very macho type culture. Irish people are the absolute opposite. We're very reserved, introverted, quiet people, and that type of Brazilian attitude, or at least the old school type of attitude, doesn't mesh well with Irish culture. If you look at the academies in Ireland,
I was just about to say, man, like, there's
no Brazilians.
Interesting.
There's George Santos is one guy in Dublin. There's another guy up north called Sebastian Torres. They're the only two people who've lasted this whole time and actually managed to build a substantial amount of people training with them. Everybody else comes in and then they go. They come in and they go. Irish people are just too suspicious or too introverted to deal with someone being so, like, I don't know, just the way that people can be, especially Brazilians can be. And I'm not I'm just saying it for what it is. But I think that's played a huge part in it. We needed Irish people to figure it out for themselves, to be able to pass it on to Irish people. Because if you look at my gym, Andy's gym, John's gym, all the most successful gyms are Irish owned, taught by Irish people, and a vast majority of their most successful students are Irish actual people. So there's definitely something to all of this together. The combination of the repression of the church, the combination of the repression of the English, all these things makes us a people that are stubborn, stoic, you know, tough, don't want to be held down, don't want to be told what to do. You're going to do it your own way. You're going to do it how you like it to be done, and that's just it. So I think all of those things together make the people like jiu-jitsu. They just don't know it. That's what I always say. Everyone in Ireland likes it. You just don't know yet. There's no way you don't like it. If you're a fucking Irish man, like, you definitely like it. You know, you just do. There's no way. There's not something in there that you'll enjoy. So with more time, man, I think the sky's the limit. As a people, we have a mentality that's just different to other places. Everyone says that about Ireland. It's not just me just coming up with that myself. Everybody says there's just something about Irish people. If you go anywhere else, I trained with an Irish person before, he was so tough. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a commonly said thing about Irish culture. So with more time, man, that's all we need. It's just more time. Because think about my academy, right? If you take a Frontline Academy in Norway, where Ted's school is, he started it as a black belt. As the student, you have a black belt already to aim at. He's a black belt. When I started, I was a purple belt. I just have a bunch of white belts, and I don't even know. I'm trying to figure it out. Do you know what I mean? I'm not even a purple belt who knows anything really. I'm like, hey guys, I'll show you, but I'm just figuring it out too. As opposed to, hey, I've been training for, like, at the point I'm at now, I've been training for a long time. I know what I'm talking about. So just that developmental phase, and I believe a lot too, man, in the environment. Now we have an environment where my younger students, Ffion is a black belt world champion. Marcus is European champion. Darragh competes in fucking all these massive events. It's completely normalized and completely, it's just what they would expect of themselves. You understand? Whereas for me, as the pioneer, you're trying to push the boundaries and trying to show what's possible for the people coming after you. I never had someone to be like, that guy won the Worlds, I can do better than that. Do you know what I mean? I didn't even know there was a Worlds. Whereas now all of my students not only know there's a Worlds, but hey, all of our teammates, they compete at this thing and they do good. So there's already I wouldn't say an expectation, but you understand what I mean. It's like,
absolutely.
Their perception of what it is so different. Their understanding of what it is so different. So with more time, and as we have more black belts on our mat and more, I believe then eventually you can create a champion without even necessarily teaching them yourself, because you have such an environment that if a kid or a teenager is interested enough themselves, they have all the feedback they need. They have multiple black belts with multiple different styles, and without even knowing it, they're learning to pass a lasso, they're learning to pass a half guard, they're learning to pass an X guard, all against people who are black belt level in those positions, and nobody is that they fight will be any different to the level that person is doing the position. Whereas I had no right when I was 2012, 2013, I got some medals at the majors. When I think about them now, I had no right to win those things, man. I didn't know anything. Do you know what I mean? I literally knew like 2 moves, and then
those 2 moves must have been good.
But the fact of what I was unaware of helped me. I didn't understand how big of a scope of things there was.
Sure.
So I was like, I X guard sweep everyone all the time. Of course I'm going to be able to.
Yeah.
Never once thinking about, who's my opponent, or where are they training, or they play spider guard. I don't even know what that is yet. Do you know? But because you don't know, you're not scared of it. So it's like, I don't know. I just never. The environment that we have now, and with more and more time, will just get better and better, and you'll be able to influence people and help people without me doing anything directly other than the work that has been done now. Does that make sense? Like, I wouldn't even have to show them a move, and they could become unbelievably good just from training in the environment. Really, you know? Yeah.
That's very cool, man. It's interesting to see it, because there are parallels between the development of Irish Jiu-Jitsu and the development of English Jiu-Jitsu as well, but like you said, very different. You don't have a lot of Brazilians over there. You don't have guys who came over there with black belts many years ago, like we did in England. We had a lot of people, Braulio, Roger, Mauricio, like very high level guys come over. But you're killing it out there, man.
Thanks, man.
You're killing it. Awesome, man. Anyway, before we go, any last words? Anything else?
No, just shout out to my sponsors, to Tammy, who have helped me for absolutely forever. I have another sponsor called the Armbar Soap Company.
Sweet.
Chad is really cool. Shout out to all my students. I love all you guys more than anything. And I'll see you guys at Polaris next week. I might look unfriendly and grumpy sometimes, but come up and say hi if you want to. Yeah, man. Thank you very much for coming on, and I'm really looking forward to watching you kick some ass at Polaris, man. So best of luck for it. Thanks for having me on, Dan. My pleasure, man. Cheers. That is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you want to find out more or to follow Darragh, then check him out. He's on Instagram at Darragh O'Conaill, or you can check out his gym Instagram, which is at ECJJA. You can also check out, since you're on Instagram already, check out my Instagram, which is raspberry_ape. If you're listening to this podcast and you're not following me on Instagram, then what are you doing? What are you doing? Go on there right now and do that, please. You can also check me out on Twitter. Don't use that much, but
I'll still answer you if you ask me a question there, or like at me. I think that's what the kids are calling it these days. You can email me at podcast@raspberryape.com. Check out my website, which is raspberryape.com, or my YouTube channel, where this and other episodes and other things will be found, which is youtube.com/raspberryape. If you enjoy this episode, then make sure you're subscribed. Firstly, subscribe to the podcast. If you're using an iPhone, then subscribe on iTunes. If you're not, then you use whatever you're using, Stitcher maybe, probably subscribe on that, or subscribe on SoundCloud. Those are the three places I know this podcast definitely is at. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. Subscribe to everything of mine as you can, if you'd like. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you next time. See ya.